Tuesday, March 24th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
The county council set to issue subpoenas in a new Sam Page investigation.
We need to make sure that we let the evidence dictate how we move forward.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
New information this morning on what's happening in Jefferson City with the Blind Pension Fund. I'm Maria Aquina. I'll have details.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A mix of clouds and sun today, our high 61.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The Cardinals finish things up in Springfield. They are in St. Louis for a workout tomorrow, an opening day on Thursday. The Blues have a game tonight. The women's Sweet 16 is set. The men will get going on Thursday with Illinois playing. We'll have it all for you in 15 minutes.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Airstrikes are battering Tehran today, and Iranian missiles and drones are targeting Tel Aviv. With thousands more U.S. Marines on their way to the Gulf, President Trump is talking up negotiations to end the war and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The BBC's Lise Doucette.
There are reports that there have been communications by telephone between Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, who's been their lead negotiator, and also President Trump's favorite envoy, Steve Witkoff. We also know that at least 3 countries, Turkey, Pakistan, Egypt, have stepped up their efforts to try to mediate in this process.
Police in the UK have widened their investigation after surveillance footage showed 3 men setting fire to some medical vehicles before the oxygen canisters inside exploded.
I'm Vicky Barker in London, where investigators say Iran may have been behind the arson attack that destroyed 4 ambulances owned by a Jewish charity.
That link to a possible state-backed incident is one line of inquiry.
Counterterrorism Chief Lawrence Taylor.
The reviews, not great, as ICE agents return to U.S. airports for the second day.
I waited in line for about 2.5 hours before determining that this is probably a 9 to 10 hour line.
That passenger at Bush Intercontinental in Houston, as the partial government shutdown has more and more unpaid TSA workers calling out sick and some quitting. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Let's make it very clear. Donald Trump is the one standing in the way of paychecks for TSA workers with the ridiculous attempt to pass the SAVE Act.
The president urging Republicans not to end that shutdown unless Democrats okay his voter ID legislation. Federal investigators are on the tarmac at LaGuardia Airport in New York, sorting through the wreckage after a plane and a fire truck collided Sunday night, killing 2 pilots. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy.
There is a lot of debris. We need to go through all of that and to figure out what we need to take back to the NTSB, to our labs.
A quadruple amputee is charged with murder in Maryland.
Dayton Weber lost his legs above the knees and his arms below the elbows to a childhood infection, but still became a professional cornhole player.
A chance at a 4-bagger here for Dayton Weber.
In for a 6th.
And it is good right down the middle.
Police say he was driving when he got into an argument with his passenger, Bradrick Wells, shot him and dumped his body on the side of the road. Diane Richardson with the Charles County Sheriff's Office says Weber is an avid hunter.
His capabilities are well documented on the intranet.
Dow futures down 49. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
It is 6:03, and right now it's mostly cloudy, 38 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The St. Louis County Council Ethics Committee is moving to subpoena records tied to an investigation into County Executive Sam Page.
The indications we have right now is that there's some pretty egregious charter violations. I don't know if the evidence is going to support that or not.
The committee is looking into allegations that Page continued working as an anesthesiologist at SSM Health while serving as county executive, which would violate a change to the charter approved by voters in 2022. Billing records obtained by a county resident allegedly show Page's medical license number was used to bill Medicare on dozens of occasions. The committee voted to recommend subpoenas targeting SSM Health, a billing group, state records, and the resident who brought the complaint. Councilmember Rita Hurd-Days says the focus now needs to stay on the facts.
We need to make sure that we let the evidence dictate how we move forward. We need to make sure that we are clear on what and not necessarily jump to any conclusions at this particular point, that we get the information that we need and we make our findings based on that rather than suppositions.
The resident who filed the original ethics complaint documented 42 separate instances of billing under Page's name. Evidence committee members say raises questions regardless of whether Page says the work was unpaid. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Page says the real story is the county's deepening budget crisis, which has already forced pool closures and reduced hours at government centers. More furloughs and service cuts are on the way. Page is calling the council's focus on his volunteer work a distraction from what he calls their own short-sighted budget decisions.
The county council will decide whether or not to move forward with a subpoena of County Executive Sam Page's alleged employers. Councilman Mark Carter says the subpoenas would demand answers within 2 to 3 weeks. With payments to Page in question, Archer says the findings will be black and white.
There's no gray area here. Either he got paid or he didn't.
Archer says if Page is found to have violated the county charter by working a second job and getting paid, they will forward that information to the courts for potential removal of Page from office or criminal charges.
After viral videos showed dozens of teens surrounding a St. Louis City police car amidst a street takeover, the curfew was moved up 2 hours over the weekend. Was it a success?
St. Louis Police Department believes so, citing juveniles being detained after Friday night's 23. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy.
This weekend proved that enforcement and support can work together to build a safer St. Louis.
McCoy says of the 23 juveniles detained, the youngest was 11 years old. All the parents whose children were detained should expect to receive a citation in the mail for a curfew violation and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Deadly hit-and-run crashes are a growing problem across the Show Me State. A new study from AAA shows that 1 in 3 pedestrian deaths in traffic deaths in Missouri involve a hit-and-run driver. In 2014, about 15% of those deaths involved a driver who fled the scene. By 2023, that rose to 30%. The report also shows the crashes are more likely to happen at night, with almost 75% of those accidents occurring after dark. The data shows it's most likely for the most likely time for pedestrian hit and runs was 9 p.m.
We knew it was coming, but we're excited for this day to be here.
The People Not Politicians' Richard Von Glahn on a Cole County court ruling on the organization's challenge of the redistricting of congressional maps for the November ballot. The question now is if the old congressional maps are still in place for the final week of candidate filing.
That is still subject to ongoing litigation, but the argument that the state made around implementing the gerrymandered maps was that they didn't know if we had a sufficient number of signatures. And now we know from their own data that they do know that we have a sufficient number of signatures. So by their own logic, the map should be suspended.
Von Glahn, Cole County Judge Stumpy, made it very clear that a yes vote on the referendum would be a vote in support of the politicians' gerrymandered map. He says the map would create new political boundaries, and that can only be true if the boundaries proposed by House Bill 1 are not already in effect. Von Glahn says that conforms with 100 years of precedent.
Do you plan to visit Lake of the Ozarks this summer? Well, there's some good news, according to a new study by fishing platform Fishbox that was featured in Travel and Leisure. It ranks Lake of the Ozarks as the 4th cleanest lake in the United States out of 100 major lakes they analyzed. Researchers looked at water quality indicators like dissolved oxygen, nutrient levels, mineral content. At the top of the list, Lake Superior.
Well, if you go to the Lake of the Ozarks on Thursday, it's going to feel like the middle of summer. Our forecast is coming up next at 6:08.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Indian psychic and spiritual healer in St. Louis. Call 314-574-2667. Expert specialist in reuniting loved ones and husband and wife issues, family problems, and unnatural health and sickness, business and job-related issues. Special remedies to deal with negative energy, love spells, black magic issues, evil energies, and curse removal. Performs all types of spiritual prayers to heal the negative energy, balance the chakras, and much more. Contact Master Raj at 314-574-2667.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10 and time to check traffic and weather. Here is Roger Brandt in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, not too much to be concerned about right now. A dump truck fire on Upper Blackwell Road they're responding to in Jefferson County right now. They said the cab of the truck's on fire. Interstate-wise, doing okay. Every once in a while, a little slowdown pops up. A few minutes ago, I was looking at one northbound 55 through Peevely. It's thinned out for now. Westbound 64, we had slow traffic at Lake St. Louis Boulevard and approaching Prospect. That's thinned out. Working westbound 70 past Wentzville Parkway, but I'm not seeing any issues. Eastbound 70 looks better. Past Packers Avenue, again, I was seeing a little bit of a slowdown through there 10 minutes ago as well. They're still doing road work on westbound Highway 70 right around the Pocahontas area, but again, I don't see any issues there. The left lane is closed through there this week. Last week, it was the right lane at 64 and O'Fallon Fairview Heights. Everything is still rolling along as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Intervals of clouds and sun today, the high 61, then partly cloudy tonight, low 45. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, breezy, much warmer in the afternoon, high 81. The record is 84 from 1907. Thursday, plenty of sunshine, breezy and hot, high 94. That would crush the record of 87 set in 1991. That'll be followed by some strong thunderstorms Thursday night. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, you'll need a jacket heading out the door. It's 38 in Florissant, 40 in St. Peter's, partly cloudy, 38 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:12. A city development agency moving closer to clearing two downtown properties. The LCRA board is being asked today to authorize bids to demolish the Railway Exchange garage. That's a full city block at 6th and Pine. That's cost the city more than $500,000 to secure. They would also be demolishing the former Charlie Gito's restaurant. The garage has been vacant and plagued by crime for years. The adjacent Railway Exchange building itself, once home to Famous Bar, remains in legal limbo as the agency works through the courts to purchase it.
An Illinois incentive hopes to keep locally grown food in the state. Capital News Illinois reports the state-funded program is offering $3.6 million to farmers in order to support the infrastructure needed to make locally grown food more accessible in Illinois. The program was started in 2023 with the main goal to change the fact that 95% of the food consumed in Illinois is imported. Program advocates say the lack of support offered to small farmers directly impacts the rate at which the food is kept and consumed in Illinois communities. The local food infrastructure grant program is open to Illinois farmers through March 27th.
Funding for everything from school lunch programs to food assistance for millions of people in Illinois could be cut off under new rules from the Trump administration. That sparked a new lawsuit from Illinois and other states. We get more from Jeff Buckles.
This is the 61st week of President Trump's second term, and Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul says in those 61 weeks, he's now joined or filed 57 lawsuits challenging policies and actions of the administration.
This latest action is
is personal to Illinoisans. It fights the Agriculture Department's new requirement that states receiving federal assistance for everything from the SNAP food benefits program to school lunch subsidies certify that the money's not being used on undocumented immigrants or to, this is a quote, promote gender ideology. Raul calls the requirements vague and unconstitutional. The USDA and the Trump administration are again attempting to coerce and bully states into complying with their unlawful policies, all at the expense of our community's well-being. The USDA says it does not comment on pending litigation. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 1059. WBBM.
A bill in Illinois could require schools to offer voter registration to eligible high school students.
Capital News Illinois reports the bill aims to increase voter registration rates in Illinois youths. Bill sponsor Democratic Representative Kimberly DeBouclé says the bill is not about picking a political party, it's about getting young people involved. But Republican lawmakers say the state's voting problem is not registration, it's turnout. A study released last April showed fewer than half of Illinois residents under the age of 29 voted in the 2024 presidential election. That percentage is on the lower end of the national average for that age group. The bill is awaiting a second vote in the state house. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The head of the St. Louis Sports Commission says this past weekend's NCAA men's basketball tournament was a great mix of local and out-of-state fans. Mark Schreiber tells Total Information AM, Mizzou and the Billikens were a great local draw.
It just sort of adds to the interest and excitement. And with Mizzou here, it made the atmosphere inside Enterprise Center Friday night really over the top.
Schreiber says fans filled Enterprise Center to 93% capacity over the course of the weekend.
It was a great time with Iowa State and Purdue and Kentucky fans especially, outlasting Missouri as Iowa State beat Kentucky and Purdue beat Miami to advance to the Sweet 16. Illinois will be part of the Sweet 16. They play on Thursday night at 9:05 against Houston in Houston. Meanwhile, on the women's side, that Sweet 16 has been set with games yesterday as Vanderbilt beat Illinois 75-57 to advance. And among the games, UConn blasted Syracuse 98-45, and South Carolina looks great also. They beat USC by 40. 101-61. So the women's Sweet 16 begins on Friday with Notre Dame taking on Vanderbilt, North Carolina, UConn, Minnesota, UCLA, and Duke, LSU. On Saturday, Louisville faces Michigan, Kentucky, and Texas, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and then Virginia and TCU. So what in the world is going on with the Cardinals leaving Nelson Velasquez off of their 26-man roster? Let's get to the bottom of it with KMOX's Matt Pauley.
The season hasn't even started yet, and there's a bit of a Cardinals roster controversy as Nelson Velasquez will not be on the opening day roster despite a Grapefruit League season where he hits .357 with 4 home runs and an OPS above 1,100. President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom says it was not an easy decision.
Tough one. He had a great spring. Really, there's nothing else we could have wanted out of him that we didn't see in the spring. Validates a lot of why we brought him here, and it was a tough one. Really comes down to spring training is a big part of these decisions. It is not the entirety of the decision, and we wanted to keep all of our players. There's things we like about all these guys. Obviously, some of them had better springs than others, but like I said, that's not the whole decision, and this allows us to keep everybody in the organization. You know, if Nelson keeps doing in Memphis what he did in spring training, you know, I would think that he'll be a part of this at some point.
The message from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol to Velasquez is he can still impact the Major League team this season.
Being able to break the way we're breaking, although a tough decision, allows us to keep everybody. And if he continues to do what he's doing, which I had a really good conversation with him this morning before we jumped on the bus to head over to the airport, man, like he'll force our hand, and that's what good players do.
While Velasquez does not make the opening day roster, the club does officially announce that rookie second baseman J.J. Weatherholt will make the team. In Springfield, Missouri, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
The Blues are back in town after all of that NCAA tournament action at Enterprise Center. They'll play hockey tonight. The Blues are at home against the Washington Capitals. That one gets going tonight at 7. In fact, they're going to stay in town this whole week. They're going to play the Sharks at Enterprise on Thursday night at 7, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are here Saturday night at 6. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and
We're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and it might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. Is what I would put in my home, is what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are talking about colorectal cancer, and joining us is Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU Medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Wang, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We want to talk about the importance of screening. At what age, Dr. Wang, should people consider getting a screening for colorectal cancer?
So the current national guidelines recommend that people start screening at 45 years old. And this is a new change that just happened in the last few years, because it used to be 50 years that we would start. But the reason why the new guidelines now recommend starting at age 45 is that we're seeing younger and younger patients get diagnosed with colorectal cancer. So we want to start screening people earlier, and that way we can prevent them from getting this terrible disease.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, getting out on the area roadways, we just had that dump truck fire upper Blackwell near Highway E, I believe it was. Getting a little busier on the interstates, but still not bad. The right lane's northbound 55, a little slow at Butler Hill. Between Bayless and Weber, there's just a hint of a slowdown. North 270 from 55 headed up through 44. Both directions at Ladue look good. Seeing a little volume coming south on 61 now. Wentzville Parkway down to 64 just kind of slowed down through there. But once you get to 64 or 70, they're both great runs across the Missouri River bridges. And on the Illinois side, seeing a little slowdown westbound 64 briefly past 159. But it looks good closer downtown, headed across the Poplar and the Musical Veterans Bridges at this time. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Pump up the volume. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Weather forecast. AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says opening day is going to be 94 degrees. Does that get your attention? As for today, a high of 61 with sunshine, partly cloudy, low 45 tonight. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a high of 81. And then Thursday, a high of 94 would break the record set in 1991 of 87. And a couple of thunderstorms around Thursday will add to the summer-like weather with possible hail and damaging winds. Currently, it's cool, 39 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:22.
It would not affect what we receive right now, but it could affect it in the future, down the road, 2 or 3, 4 years. And we're just trying to protect the future of the blind pension.
That's Denny Huff, the Missouri Council of the Blind's liaison in Jefferson City, hoping to prevent visually impaired Missourians from losing their pensions. Maria Kina has a follow-up.
We have learned from Denny Huff that the one piece of legislation by Republican State Representative Tim Taylor that would have changed the way the blind pensions were funded has been withdrawn. But there are 2 more bills by other Republican House members to take its place.
We want to take out $64 million today to fund the public school system, which actually the rehab services for the blind should be in line first to support the blind of Missouri. And we are MCB, Missouri Council of the Blind, and many other blind organizations across the state are totally against them taking that money out of the reserve, because if for some reason they would pass 3354 to lessen the income, if property tax would be repealed and we wouldn't have that support financially, then taking that money out of the reserve would cripple us in the long run.
Taking this money away from the blind community, that's like taking your independence away.
Yes, it is. It would not affect what we receive right now, but it could affect it in the future down the road 2, 3, 4 years. And we're just trying to protect the future of the Blind Pension Fund and the recipients, that they receive the raises that they should get, the cost of living raises. And we ran into battle with the state several years ago, a couple of times. The Missouri Council of the Blind filed a lawsuit against the state of Missouri in 2006. And eventually in 2018, we did win that lawsuit that they were not paying us what they should be paying us.
KMOX asked Huff what Governor Mike Kehoe's position is on this effort to cut back on blind Missourians' pensions. He did not know, but he does have a meeting with the governor's aide today. KMOX will let you know how this proposed legislation is progressing and where Governor Kehoe stands on it. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Lawmakers returned to the Capitol this week with Governor Kehoe pushing a plan to phase out Missouri's income tax. The House approved it, and the Senate committee expected to debate the proposal soon. Columbia Senator Stephen Weber says the proposal could put future state revenues at risk and add new taxes on certain local services.
Governor Kehoe tells Missouri Net that he will stay very involved as he believes it is a great option for Missourians to be able to vote on.
Puts us in a competitive nature with other states, and we're excited that it's over in the Senate now.
The House Joint Resolution would link future income tax cuts to state revenue growth, and if approved by the Senate, it would be sent to Missouri voters, likely on the next statewide ballot.
A popular North County restaurant and event space is closed until further notice after fire broke out early Monday morning. The fire at Fahrenheit STL off West Florissant reached 2 alarms, and firefighters from 8 different agencies responded. Owner Marvin Pate tells KSDK he believes the fire started in some wiring behind a booth, but says they are insured and they plan to rebuild.
Fahrenheit STL has drawn some high-profile guests: Floyd Mayweather, Chris Brown, Rick Ross. The closure leaves about 30 people out of work.
Festus residents continue to oppose a potential data center during last night's city council meeting. That meeting was moved to Festus High School to accommodate the large crowd that city officials expected. The $6 billion development includes $1.3 billion in projected tax revenues and a voluntary buyout program for those who live near the site.
Our partners at Fox 2 report the majority of residents who spoke at last night's meeting were opposed to the development. They urged the council to base its decision off how the residents feel, and at one point chanted, "Let us vote." The council could vote on the plan as early as next Monday.
We're learning more about plans for a new $231 million Touche Regional Hospital complex in the Metro East.
The Southern Illinois Healthcare Foundation owns Touche Regional Hospital, which opened at its current location in 1958. The plan is to build a totally new complex along Sandy Ridge Road near I-255 in Cahokia Heights, with openings set for late 2029 or early 2030. Once approved, the new facility would double the available beds for behavioral health patients. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It's 6:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
I got my first real six-string.
Brian Adams. Roll with the Punches Tour 2026. A night full of hits. Live at Enterprise Center, Friday, July 24th. With special guest Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
The smartest way to spend your money is not to.
Straight Talk offers free 5G phones for new and existing customers on Verizon's 5G network. So the refund money I don't spend on that free phone is the refund money I get to keep for my family. Smart.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's Burn Balance Edge for men, Burn Balance Zen for women, available at supplement superstores. This is the top of the line. A complete metabolism system. An all-natural weight loss option, by the way, for people who don't want to get into prescriptions. If you don't like needles, this is for you. And it gets your metabolism working at peak levels, helps you with appetite control and cravings, all-day focused energy. So get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you, and they will knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. To find your location, go to supplementsuperstores.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It is 6:30, and right now it's mostly clear. 38 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand, how does it look out there, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
No, we got a little trouble right now, Tom, on westbound 364 before you get to the Veterans Bridge. It looks to me, now it's dark and there's a lot of flashing lights. It looks to me like there's a car off the roadway down in the ditch, westbound 364, but they have a couple of lanes blocked. It looks like only the left lane is open westbound 364 as you approach the Veterans Bridge. The good news about it is that it's opposite direction to the rush hour flow. So right now there are no delays through there, but I'm sure EMS is on the way. So we'll see if things change, but that's what the state is right now there. Other than that, we're building volume in other spots. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64 is kind of busy. Northbound 270, a little slow at Gravois, approaching Manchester, and again around Clayton Road. Northbound 55, you've got the usual slowdowns coming up. South of Butler Hill through Mattis, Bayless up to Weber's, pretty heavy on the Illinois side. Westbound 64 delays, both sides of 159, and then just a little slow past the 70 split and on the Poplar. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather is, again, all over the place. So today, sun and clouds and 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny, 81. Thursday, 94. Yes, that is opening day. Mostly sunny, breezy, and hot. 94 would actually break the record. Also break the all-time March record of 92. Anyway, aside from the heat, we're looking at a couple of thunderstorms Thursday that could produce hail and damaging winds. Of course, we'll keep you posted. Meantime, it's 38 downtown.
Now back to the St. Louis County Council Ethics Committee, yet again investigating whether County Executive Sam Page violated the law by practicing medicine while in office.
I would move that this ethics committee.
The committee voted to recommend 4 subpoenas targeting SSM Health, its billing affiliate, Western Anesthesiologists, state records, and the county resident who first filed the complaint with the Missouri Ethics Commission, alleging Page billed Medicare for medical services despite his maintaining the work was unpaid volunteering. But Councilman Mark Harder says that explanation raises its own concerns.
Is that kind of normal to have a volunteer working in a surgical suite for people? I don't know if I would want to know that I've got volunteers working on me in an operation.
The allegations come after the 2022 charter change that barred the county executive from holding any outside job. If the allegations are proven, the council could file a complaint in court, a process that could result in criminal charges and Page's removal from office. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Page calls the council's scrutiny an unserious spectacle. He says some people simply can't comprehend that an elected official would do something without being paid. He says he's volunteered at a hospital for years and has also helped at food drives and neighborhood cleanups.
I'm Sean Malone. Now that the Ethics Committee has recommended subpoenas be issued seeking information about County Executive Page's alleged employment What happens next? County Councilman Mike Archer says the county council will vote on sending the subpoenas to SSM and 3 other organizations. After that, we could see them return quickly.
We're expecting Sean to have those answers in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Archer says there is no gray area here. Either Page was paid for his work or he was not.
It is 6:33, and the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other. Yeah. They're just a huge problem in your life. And then you win a giant jackpot. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers now because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
When it comes to your hearing, you deserve expert care. At the Audiology Center, you're treated by certified audiologists Dr. Colleen Bosler, Dr. Adam Foss, and Dr. Bailey Campbell, meaning 8 years of advanced education, clinical expertise, and a commitment to best practices.
Charlie, we offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so you get what's best for you. Every patient receives individualized testing, precise fittings using real ear measurements, and personalized programming to ensure your hearing aids perform exactly as they should. And our care doesn't stop once you leave the office. We're committed to helping your hearing aids last through ongoing adjustments, maintenance, and long-term support at no extra cost. Better hearing is personal, not one size fits all. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com. And let's take that first step together.
It is 6:35. This is Total Information AM, and right now it's time to bring you your money report from Bloomberg. It's sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. President Trump saying both the U.S. and Iran are keen to make a deal to end the conflict following what he described as productive talks. That sent stocks soaring yesterday. The Dow jumped 631 points. The S&P 500 climbed above 1%. This morning, S&P futures are down 22 points, Dow futures falling 175. And the price of oil in the U.S. is higher at $91 a barrel. Meantime, pink slips are being handed out at Spotify. The company is laying off approximately 3% of its podcasting team. The company is reorganizing to create fewer layers of management and faster decision-making. Spotify has been in the podcast space since 2019. And Nintendo is cutting back the production of the Switch 2. Demand for the $450 gaming console trailed the company's expectations during the year-end holiday season, especially in the U.S. Sources tell us Nintendo plans to make 4 million devices this quarter. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Tom Ackerman. Yesterday, I was telling you about that emerald ash borer, an exotic wood-boring beetle. These attack ash trees exclusively. And you know, St. Louis has a lot of ash trees. The emerald ash borer is a very small but very destructive beetle. It's metallic green in color, and its slender body measures just a half-inch long and 1/8 inch wide. How do we catch them? How do we treat our trees? Well, we hire Gamma Tree experts. That's how. The average adult beetle can't fit easily on a penny, and it is a real problem to ash trees here in the St. Louis area. This beetle is responsible for the death or decline of tens of millions of ash trees, and it's been detected in Missouri and several surrounding states. So let's get after it. Gamma Tree experts can treat your ash trees just like they do for us each and every year, and we are very thankful. Save your ash tree. Prevention is key. Have them treated by Gamma Tree experts. They do soil applications and they do trunk injections. You can read more about it at gammatree.com. This is a very important service from Gamma Tree experts. Since 1954, they've been serving the St. Louis area. Gamma Tree experts, gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra vutrisiran is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
All hail Spamalot, the Tony Award-winning best musical comedy that will have you laughing your coconuts off. The Washington Post declares Monty Python's Spamalot is the funniest musical on Broadway. Entertainment Weekly calls it a hilarious fun fest. The Washington Post says it's unfair to laugh this much. Get your tickets now for the musical comedy event of the year, Spamalot, playing the fabulous Fox May 5th through 17th. Tickets at fabulousfox.com.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Hey, look who's checking in on Facebook from Portugal. John Grayson says you guys sound great. Johnny, what's going on? Good to hear from our former overnight host.
Yeah, it's probably early afternoon in Portugal. He's
How about that?
sitting around sipping some coffee, I would think.
Yeah, I wouldn't think the traffic's too bad in Portugal.
You never know.
What's going on, Roger, in St. Louis, overhead door company, St. Louis Traffic Center?
They're still working this crash on westbound 364, Tom, just east of the Veterans Bridge. Only left lane is open. This traffic reports to service Chesterfield fence and that car off into the woods there, and they say it's on fire. I can't really tell, but it's a small fire, if anything. But traffic seems to be getting by okay, even though there's restricted lanes. And eastbound drivers are not slowing for a look. That's the better news, I think. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64 is busy. If you're on North 270, it's slow as you merge on from 55. Then a couple of spots north of 44 up to 64. It's just off the pace most of the way through there right now. Northbound 55, the right lane is busy at Butler Hill. All lanes from the Union Road overpass to the River to Pear bogged down. Westbound 64, you've got delays both sides of 159, and then it's slow west of 3rd Street or approaching Route 3 onto the Poplar Street Bridge after that. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Checking in right now with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, and our roller coaster of weather continues. But our big concern, of course, Joe, is Thursday because that's Cardinals opening day.
And I think we're fine for the day. After dark, there's a risk for some thunderstorms and there could be some severe weather. But I think for the game, make sure you stay hydrated because it is going to be toasty. Midsummer type of baseball weather as temperatures go up into the 90s, I think, on Thursday. Today, starting out chilly, upper 30s, low 40s with some sun. We'll get to a high of about 61, then partly cloudy tonight, mid 40s. Turns warmer tomorrow and breezy with some sunshine. We'll get into the low 80s. The record of 84 is within reach. That was set in 1907. Thursday, that's the scorcher. Mostly sunny, breezy, hot. We get the 94. That would not only break the record of 87 for the date, but the all-time March record of 92 that was set in 1929 on this date. A couple of thunderstorms Thursday night, severe weather in play. A couple of morning showers Friday, then breezy, much colder. Clouds break for some late day sun, but temperatures only in the mid-50s, upper 50s with sunshine on Saturday. 42 at St. Peter's, 39 in Florissant, mostly cloudy, 42 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, Joe, thank you. It's 6:42, sports in 3 minutes. Israel says it will continue to strike in both Iran and Lebanon, even during possible negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. CBS reporter Linda Gradstein now with more from Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he spoke with President Trump in a phone call on Monday, and they discussed the potential deal with Iran. He said that President Trump believes there is a chance to leverage what he called the massive achievements of the Israeli army and the U.S. military to achieve the goals of the war through an agreement which he said would protect Israel's vital interests.
Missouri's military footprint, part of a much larger global conflict. Governor Kehoe says B-2 bombers participated in the initial bombing in Iran last June and says National Guard personnel have been involved in the current conflict.
It's been, very humbling to see Missourians and Missouri National Guard members part of that critical process.
Oil prices dropped sharply after the president signaled a potential de-escalation with Iran, but that doesn't always translate immediately to relief at the gas pump. Experts say it can take time. It depends on whether those lower prices actually hold. Chief economist at the PNC Financial Services Group, Gus Fauché, explains how quickly consumers could see any savings and whether they're likely to last.
If it looks like the Strait of Hormuz is going to reopen soon, then we'll see oil prices stay where they are, and we will see gas prices fall in the next few days. On the other hand, if this does not appear to be permanent, then we'll see oil prices go back up and gas prices head back up as well.
A new study finds the gender pay gap in the United States is widening and even erasing past progress toward equal pay. CBS's Cammie McCormick reports.
Pay scale found women are still being paid less regardless of education level, and the gap widens even more with age. The company's Lulu Cycli.
Women earn 82 cents for every dollar earned by a man, which is down 1 cent from last year. And that translates into a lot of money year over year, about $14,300 less per year in median pay, or more than $1 million in lost earnings over a 40-year career.
And with roughly 80 million women in the workforce, that translates into $1.1 trillion in lost earnings each year.
Also, an economics professor is using the historic WNBA contract tentatively agreed to last week to teach her students in a fun and engaging way.
Lynn McDonald is a professor at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota and a WNBA season ticket holder. She saw an opportunity to overlap sports and economics as collective bargaining negotiations unfolded.
It's fascinating, and it's such a great topic for students to think about so much with economics, with labor market, with negotiations and salaries and the gender pay gap.
Junior Amelia Ross.
It's just kind of crazy seeing that like an NBA rookie player makes more than the best player on a WNBA team.
Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
The women's Sweet 16 is set. It will begin on Friday. They'll get going as you've got some great teams involved, and just like the men, all the top seeds, it seems, have advanced. There's one double-digit seed, and that would be Virginia, the 10, taking on TCU. Otherwise, the Saturday schedule has Louisville, Michigan, Texas, Kentucky, Oklahoma, South Carolina. South Carolina looks awesome, almost as awesome as 36-0 UConn. They're undefeated, 36-0. They will play North Carolina on Friday, along with Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, Minnesota, UCLA, and LSU and Duke. The women's Sweet 16. The men start on Thursday, including Illinois. They will be taking on Houston in Houston. That one is a late one, a 9:05 Central Time tip. You can see it on TBS. It's also on True TV, and Illinois is a 3.5-point underdog in that matchup. What's the over-under on Cardinals wins in 2026? Well, according to most of the sports books in Las Vegas, it's 69.5. What are you taking there? As for the Redbirds looking forward, the Cardinals feel optimistic. Here's Matt Pauley.
Cardinals spring training is officially over after an exhibition game last night had the big league club winning 3-2 against their AA affiliate in Springfield. With opening day coming up on Thursday, President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom is happy with the results of the spring.
It was really good all the way through. You could see these guys really taking control of it and just running with, everything they need to put us in position to get off on the right foot. It's a really connected group, which is what you hope for. And I think what we had a chance to have happen here, just great timing with the new facility that I think is designed to bring people together. So not only this group here, but just the whole organization to be moving together is a really cool thing.
Manager Oliver Marmol has stressed his team being a club that is so good at every detail that they're hard to play against.
If there's an area I'm most excited about, it's probably that. It's just the overall relentless mentality in how they're going to compete and what we want the other side or our opposition to experience every time they face us. Like, we want you to be exhausted because of the attention to detail in every area of the game. So that's one area I feel really, really good about.
The Cardinals will hold a workout in St. Louis tomorrow before beginning the season on Thursday against the Rays. In Springfield, Missouri, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
J.J. Weatherholt will be part of that, officially added to the roster. He is the Cardinals' #1 prospect and currently the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year in the National League. But Nelson Velasquez was left off. Minor league free agent signing. He ended up leading the team in home runs and RBIs and hits in spring training, but the Cardinals opted to send him to Memphis so that they can retain their 40-man roster. They will have to make a 40-man move because Weatherholt is currently not on it. Neither is Velasquez. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX. Mine, of course, as well. And we're into baseball season. Thank God. We've been counting down to this for months. And this baseball season, FanDuel is letting you choose your own reward for opening week. So these are betting customizations that transform how you experience the game. So you make your choice, and the reward will be ready to use on your next MLB bet. I guess you could say FanDuel is the home of home runs this year. And look, we've all been looking forward to baseball season. I know we've been talking it down here on KMOX for months and months and months. It's finally time, and we get to play with FanDuel, which I find to be more fun than playing in football season, just so you know. So if you're ready to play your game, head to FanDuel.com/Missouri to choose your reward for MLB's opening week. FanDuel is an official partner of Major League Baseball. And, of course, remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in is required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Experience power, beauty, and bold imagination with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Beethoven's Emperor Concerto, Radiant Vision. Acclaimed pianist Vikingur Olafsson returns to perform Beethoven's heroic Emperor Piano Concerto alongside Kevin Putz, led by music director Stefan Denev. March 27th and 28th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
6:51 and time for traffic and weather. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's just a little bit of a slowdown now, Debbie, on westbound 364 approaching the Veterans Bridge where that vehicle left the roadway, but only the left lane is open. That's why there's only a little bit of a slowdown. There's just not a lot of volume going westbound there this time of day. This traffic report service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, eastbound Highway 70, slow approaching Bryan Road at Cape Springs. If you're on eastbound 64 past Prospect, a little bit of volume. Northbound 270 north of Big Bend up to Manchester, and then Clayton Road up to 64. That's the busiest part of that run. Northbound 55, you've got that usual slowdown from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear on the Illinois side. Westbound 64 west of 50 through 159 is heavy. Then it's just a little slow approaching the Poplar after that. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Sunny high 61 today with some clouds, partly cloudy, low 45 tonight. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high 81. Thursday for opening day, it's going to be hot. A high of 94 with a chance of thunderstorms. It's currently 39 downtown.
The news continues at 6:52. If you shop at Trader Joe's, you need to know about thousands of pounds of food across the nation being recalled. The FDA announcing food distributed by Ajinomoto Foods North America, Inc. had foreign objects in it namely glass. The recall includes almost 10,000 pounds of Trader Joe's vegetable fried rice. The glass apparently measuring 1 to 3 centimeters long, 2 to 4 millimeters wide. That announcement comes after another recall from earlier this month. That one was for Trader Joe's chicken fried rice and Trader Joe's chicken shumai.
You like Korean food? Well, a side dish could help your body get rid of dangerous microplastics.
A new study finds probiotic foods like kimchi, made from fermented cabbage or Korean radish, are not only good for your gut, but work to remove micro and nanoplastics from your system. They can infiltrate cells, tissues, and even the blood-brain barrier. They've been linked to Crohn's disease, colitis, and other diseases that can increase the risk of diabetes and colorectal cancer. Scientists found the lactic acid strains in kimchi can absorb one of the most common forms of nanoplastics derived from polystyrene before it's excreted. The study from the World Institute of Kimchi is published in Bioresource Technology. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
A new study in the Lancet Gastroenterology and Hepatology Journal finds that alcohol-related liver disease may be much more common than previously thought. Georgetown University professor Zobair Yanasi.
When you correct for alcohol consumption, that the prevalence goes up from 1.6% to 4.6%. So this is a 3 times jump in the prevalence rate.
The researchers found that binge drinking plays a big part. At higher risk are those who are obese, have type 2 diabetes, and are women.
Correspondent Michael George reports on the everyday foods that cause problems for fertility.
Eating ultra-processed food can reduce fertility in both men and women. A study in the Netherlands found that eating large amounts of the food, which makes up about 20% of the average diet, increases the risk of pregnancy complications and health problems for the baby. Ultra-processed food includes many packaged foods, like cereals, lunch meat, chips, cookies, and sliced bread.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Well, I'm very happy to be the same age of 2 of the all-time greats. Tiger Woods, whose birthday is not today, but I always loved the fact that we're both 50. And you know who turned 50 today? He joined the 50 Club. Peyton Manning. Now, you may know him from commercials, and he's a pretty funny guy. Can I tell you a minute about his resume? Incredible career. 2-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time NFL MVP, 14-time Pro Bowler. Peyton Manning is 50 today.
Birthdays are sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family-owned and top-rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Send those birthday and anniversaries into totalam@KMOX.com. And happy birthday wishes going out to Doug Sanders from the Life Group, Peggy Harris in Belleville. Happy birthday, Bill Shinstock from your friends. Also, happy birthday wishes going out to Al Kreckler, Catherine Homaker, Tony Weish, and Nina Murphy.
This is the best birthday ever.
The Laterman Law Firm. Boy, I really enjoy talking about a group that feels like family to me. That's because my family has been going to Laterman Law Firm for about 20 years now. Laterman Law Firm. Here's the thing when it comes to, I hear this all the time about estate plans. Yeah, I have a estate plan, I think. You know, we did that years ago. We've been meaning to look at it again, right? Well, that is the problem. Estate plans aren't one and done. What I've learned is most plans don't fail because people don't care. They fail because life changes and the plan doesn't keep up. And at Laterman Law Firm, it isn't just paperwork. It's an ongoing process. Laterman Law Firm will build your estate plan to protect your family and your property. And then for a fixed annual fee, they actually help maintain it so it stays aligned with the changes in your life, with your assets and the law. And that's a big reason we've stayed with Laterman Law Firm all these years. You can visit them online at latermanlaw.com. That's LAIDERMAN law.com, or call 514-9100 for the Laterman Law Firm. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Dave. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free and 0% financing for 36 months, plus $500 off your project. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Backed by popular demand, don't miss Blues Mystery Hat Giveaway Night. Join us April 7th as the Blues battle the Avalanche and take home an exclusive mystery hat to add to your collection. The first 10,000 fans will receive one of 3 hat styles, courtesy of Ticketmaster. The hats represent 3 eras of Blues hockey, and each features a stitched wordmark and logo from that era. Mystery hats are only available during this game, so get your tickets now at stlouisblues.com.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working this crash westbound 364 before the Veterans Bridge, Debbie. Really not much in the way of a slowdown right now. Northbound 270 is a little slow approaching Gravois, Doherty Ferry up to Manchester, and north of Manchester up to 64, 55, Bayless to River to Pear, westbound 6450 through 159 slow. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A new investigation into County Executive Sam Page.
The indications we have right now is that there's some pretty egregious charter violations. I don't know if the evidence is going to support that or not.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
New information this morning on what's happening in Jefferson City with the Blind Pension Fund. I'm Maria Aquina. I'll have details.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Intervals of clouds and sunshine today, the high 61.
With Debbie Monterrey, I'm Tom Ackerman. Sports coming up at 7:15. Let's go into this. Nelson Velazquez left off the roster. A lot of Cardinals fans wondering about that. We'll have that story for you in 15 minutes.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Airstrikes are battering Iran, and Iranian missiles and drones are targeting Tel Aviv and other sites across the Mideast, despite President Trump's stated efforts to reach an agreement with Tehran. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe is at the White House.
President Trump insisted the U.S. is talking to what he called a, quote, top person.
We're dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader.
A senior Iranian foreign ministry official says Iran is reviewing points sent by the U.S. through a mediator, but no formal talks are underway.
A spokesman for Iran's top military command says armed forces will fight, quote, until complete victory. We're hitting the 6th week of a partial government shutdown here, and lines are growing even longer at airports, despite the new presence of ICE agents. CBS's Nicole Skanga talking to passengers at Bush Intercontinental, where they're queued up all the way into the basement today.
What was it like coming through downstairs? No air conditioning. No air conditioning, no service. It was horrible.
No bathroom.
Yeah, there's no bathroom down there, no food.
50,000 TSA workers are still not getting paid. Many are sticking out. Some are quitting. The government shutdown slowed down the trip for specialists headed from Texas to New York to join the investigation into the deadly collision between a plane and a fire truck on a runway at LaGuardia Airport. Correspondent Tom Hansen is there.
Officials did not reveal specific information about the air traffic controllers working during the incident, but Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy suggested below average staffing at the airport was not a concern.
Both pilots were killed. Investigators are studying flight data and cockpit audio recorders. Congress will look into hospice fraud in California.
A recent CBS News investigation found 700 of the 1,800 hospices in Los Angeles County triggered multiple red flags for fraud. They steal patients' Medicare numbers and fraudulently enroll them in hospice programs without their knowledge. It happened to Lynn Ianni after she suffered a pickleball injury.
They said you're in hospice. And I said, what?
what are you talking about? Do I look like I'm nuts? She goes, no.
The House Oversight Committee is asking the state to turn over documents regarding its oversight of hospices. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A new study is sounding the alarm about freshwater fish in danger of disappearing. Lead author Seb Hogan.
There are hundreds of species of migratory fish all over the world, and this new assessment shows that these populations are in decline and need international cooperation in order to improve their management and protect them.
The biggest problems, overfishing and dams. Dow futures are down 45. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-507-9701. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-507-9701. That's 800-507-9701. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At 7:04, 39 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news. St. Louis County Council members are drawing a hard line in their investigation of County Executive Sam Page.
Councilmember Days? Aye. Councilmember Bangert? Aye.
The Ethics Committee voted to recommend 4 subpoenas connected to allegations that Page continued practicing as an anesthesiologist at SSM Health while serving as county executive. A county charter update from 2022 explicitly bans the county executive from holding any outside position as an employee or an independent contractor. This isn't the first time we've heard about this from the council. Members acknowledged a previous round of subpoenas stalled out after more than a year of court fights, and they never got the records. Councilwoman Shalonda Webb asked, what if that happens again? Committee Chair Mike Archer responded.
I think that we should fight for the citizens of St. Louis County as ferociously as we can, because it does look, the indications we have right now is that there's some pretty egregious charter violations.
The billing records at the center of the investigation allegedly show 7 instances of charges of Page's name between April and December of 2022. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Page isn't backing down. He says volunteering at a hospital a few hours a week is a passion and says teaching keeps him connected to the community. He also called out the county council, saying serious budget issues demand serious attention, not a focus on his unpaid work.
I'm Sean Malone. If St. Louis County Executive Sam Page was paid for his work at SSM, as the Missouri Ethics Commission report alleges, what happens next? Councilman Mark Harder.
We would file a complaint in the court and turn over our evidence, and it would be up to the court to bring charges and to remove him from office.
The subpoena request now goes before the entire county council. According to Councilman Mike Archer, the subpoenas would request a response within 2 to 3 weeks.
St. Louis City Police believe the curfew moving up 2 hours was successful this weekend, with no juveniles detained the rest of the weekend after 23 on Friday night. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy says parents of the children who were detained should expect to receive a citation.
You need to be on the lookout in the mail this week or next week to receive that summons because there is a court date.
McCoy says they were surprised by the broad support for the curfew moving up and encourage anyone who believes it should be moved up permanently to contact their local alderman.
Deadly hit-and-run crashes are a growing problem across the Show Me State. A new study from AAA reports nearly 1 in 3 pedestrian traffic deaths in Missouri involves a hit-and-run driver. In 2014, that was about 15% of pedestrian deaths involved a driver who fled the scene. That rose to 30%, actually over 30% by 2023. The report also showed the crashes are more likely to happen at night, almost 75% of those accidents occurring after dark, and the most likely time for pedestrian hit and runs, 9 p.m.
A man was electrocuted from power lines near Labadie's power plant. Cody Lashley of Beaufort, according to Franklin County Sheriff's Office, died after being electrocuted while allegedly attempting to steal copper wire Sunday near that power plant. KSDK reports the deputies found Lashley's body on Sunday. The sheriff's office says Lashley was attempting to steal copper wire by cutting it from electric poles when a pole snapped and fell. He was electrocuted when the lines touched him.
From the KMOX business desk, the world's largest food color manufacturer is on North Jefferson, and the company Sensient is expanding its operations there as part of a $250 million investment to produce more natural food dyes. They broke ground Monday on their expansion in the Jeff Vanderloo neighborhood that's expected to add about 200 jobs.
According to the Business Journal, the expansion spans almost 29,000 square feet and will be located across the street from the new NGA headquarters. It will focus on natural color processing and production as the food industry continues moving away from artificial dyes.
It is 7:08, and we're going to take a look at traffic and weather. That's coming up next here on Total Information AM.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Hot matchup, colder drinks, only at Busch Stadium when the Cardinals host the Tampa Bay Rays on Sunday, March 29th. Fans will take home a stainless steel Cardinals tumbler presented by Coca-Cola and Quick Trip, designed to lock in the cold and show off your Cardinals pride. It's the perfect companion for 9 innings and beyond. A practical addition to any Cardinals collection that'll keep you cool all game long. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Nolan Gorman. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
I wanted a new color printer to add pizzazz to my prints.
Pizzazz can be pricey.
Well, now at Staples, you get up to 30% off select HP printers.
30% off HP?
Yeah, I saved $120 on an HP Smart Tank 6001 with up to 3 years of ink included.
Why, that could be the last printer you'll ever need.
Could be.
Shop your local Staples today for big savings on HP.
That was easy.
Available in-store, online, or on the app. It's 4 exclusions apply.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
All right, let's check that traffic first. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they got a couple lanes running by that crash where the vehicle left the roadway earlier, Tom, on westbound 364 before the Veterans Bridge. They got a flatbed on the scene. Looks like they got it back up out of the ditch. Traffic's fine both ways through the area there. Obviously, since it's westbound, not that much volume. Eastbound 70, K to TR Hughes, bunching up a little bit of a backup there, but 64 looks great. Coming off 61 coming in from one, so that's not a problem. Northbound 270, you've got some slow traffic. Doherty Ferry headed up toward Manchester, then north of Manchester, most of the way to 64 is just kind of off the pace after that. Northbound 55, the right lane's Butler Hill, Mattis, Bayless up to River to Pear, a couple of slowdowns for you there. And westbound 64 backed up west of 50 through 159, but after that, for now at least, it's a good run, just a little busy on the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update is 720 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Intervals of clouds and sun today, the high 61, then partly cloudy tonight, low 45. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, breezy, much warmer in the afternoon, high 81. The record is 84 from 1907. Thursday, plenty of sunshine, breezy and hot, high 94. That would crush the record of 87 set in 1991. That'll be followed by some strong thunderstorms Thursday night. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is mostly sunny out there and 38 degrees.
It's 7:12. A popular North County restaurant and event space is closed until further notice after fire broke out early Monday morning. The fire at Fahrenheit STL off West Florissant reached 2 alarms, and firefighters from 8 different agencies responded. Owner Marvin Pate tells KSDK he believes the fire started in some wiring behind a booth, but says they are insured and plan to rebuild.
Fahrenheit STL has drawn some high-profile guests like Floyd Mayweather, Chris Brown, and Rick Ross. The closure leaves about 30 people out of work.
The chants of angry residents at last night's Festus City Council meeting. The majority of residents that attended continue to oppose a potential data center in Festus. The meeting was moved to Festus High School to accommodate the large crowd city officials anticipated. The $6 billion development includes $1.3 billion in projected tax revenue and a voluntary buyout program for those who live nearby the site.
Residents opposing the plan are urging the council to base its decision off how residents feel. The council could vote as soon as next Monday.
Plans are being finalized for a new $231 million Touche Regional Hospital in Cahokia Heights.
Touche Regional is owned by the Southern Illinois Healthcare Foundation. It's planning on building a new hospital to replace the current one, which opened in 1958. The new facility would double the available beds for behavioral health patients and, once approved, would be built along Sandy Ridge Road near I-255, with an expected opening set for late 2029 or early 2030. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
2 more downtown St. Louis buildings could be coming down. Well, one building and one parking garage. The Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority is set to seek demolition bids for the Railway Exchange garage at 6th and Pine and the former Charlie Gito's next door. The agency bought the garage last year for $2.5 million after years of break-ins and other security issues. Charlie Gito's, which closed in 2020, was picked up by the Land Bank earlier this year.
The head of the St. Louis Sports Commission hopes the success of this weekend's March Madness event at Enterprise Center will bring more championships to the city.
The men's basketball tournament comes just 2 months after the city hosted the U.S. Olympic Figure Skating Championships in the same area. Commission President Mark Schreiber says economic factors, including a low cost of living, give St. Louis an edge over other host cities.
This summer, we're going to bid on the next cycle of NCAA championships. It's 3 years of bids across all sports. So we needed this to be a solid weekend.
Schreiber says the more high-level athletic competitions the city successfully hosts, the more tournaments the region will score. He points to the NCAA Men's Wrestling Championship, which will be held in the city next March. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Well, the Cardinals took on the Springfield Cardinals yesterday, and they were victorious 3-2 over their AA affiliates. Home run for Alec Burleson, good outing for Dustin May. Riley O'Brien got the win, and the Cardinals also announced that J.J. Weatherholt made the roster. The number 1 prospect in the Cardinals organization is going to be their opening day. He's going to wear number 26, start at second base, and I would assume he is your leadoff hitter. The Cardinals were really looking at him in that spot. He's a terrific player. All of that is all well and good, but that was not actually the number 1 thing that was buzzing on social media. It was Cardinals fans a bit angry, actually. Here is KMOX's Matt Pauley.
The season hasn't even started yet, and there's a bit of a Cardinals roster controversy as Nelson Velasquez will not be on the opening day roster despite a Grapefruit League season where he hits .357 with 4 home runs and an OPS above 1,100. President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom says it was not an easy decision.
Tough one. He had a great spring. Really, there's nothing else we could have wanted out of him that we didn't see in the spring. Validates a lot of why we brought him here, and it was a tough one. Really comes down to spring training is a big part of these decisions. It is not the entirety of the decision, and we wanted to keep all of our players. There's things we like about all these guys. Obviously, some of them had better springs than others, but like I said, that's not the whole decision, and this allows us to keep everybody in the organization. You know, if Nelson keeps doing in Memphis what he did in spring training, you know, I would think that he'll be a part of this at some point.
The message from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol to Velasquez is he can still impact the Major League team this season.
Being able to break the way we're breaking, although a tough decision, allows us to keep everybody. And if he continues to do what he's doing, which I had a really good conversation with him this morning before we jumped on the bus to head over to the airport, man, like, he'll force our hand, and that's what good players do.
While Velasquez does not make the opening day roster, the club does officially announce that rookie second baseman J.J. Weatherholt will make the team. In Springfield, Missouri, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Cards and Rays, 3:15 start on KMOX Thursday. The Wagon Gate opens in right field at 2:30 for the Budweiser Clydesdales. The Hall of Famers will make their way around the track. The Cardinals players will greet them at home plate. It is going to be another festive day, a warm day at Busch Stadium. Get ready for that. High of 94 on Thursday for opening day. The Blues play tonight. They're at home. It'll be chilly in their Enterprise Center as the Blues take on the Washington Capitals. That's a 7:00 start. Kimora Johnson scored 28 points as 10th seeded Virginia became the first four team to reach the regional semifinals in women's basketball after an 83-75 double overtime win over number 2 seed Iowa. The Cavaliers won 3 games in 5 days, defeating Arizona State 57-55 Thursday, an 82-73 overtime win over Georgia Saturday, and then the Hawkeyes, who were playing in front of a sellout crowd at home. How about that? What a win for the Virginia Cavaliers. They are on to the women's Sweet 16. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
I wanted a new color printer to add pizzazz to my prints.
Ooh, pizzazz can be pricey.
Well, now at Staples, you get up to 30% off select HP printers.
30% off HP?
Yeah, I saved $120 on an HP Smart Tank 6001 with up to 3 years of ink included.
Why, that could be the last printer you'll ever need.
Could be.
Shop your local Staples today for big savings on HP.
That was easy.
Available in-store, online, or on the app. It's 404 exclusions apply.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center.
Our young onset colorectal cancer center focuses on the problems that younger patients might have. And we pay attention to things like fertility, support with trying to manage childcare and caring for older parents during that time. It's a great resource for these younger patients.
Visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's get you traffic and weather. It looks like a beautiful morning out there, a bit on the chilly side, but just wait. Of course, things change quickly around here. We'll get you the latest after we check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, they cleared that crash, Debbie, westbound 364 before the Veterans Bridge. That's no longer an issue. Eastbound Highway 70, got a little heavy traffic, Wentzville Parkway into Highway Z. It's backed up Bryan Road to about T.R. Hughes after that, but then it clears out. Eastbound 64 looks good. There's a little slowdown, Maryville Center to Mason. It's slow, 270 to about Spady, and briefly at the Interbelt. South 170 from about Brentwood to 64, kind of busy. Northbound 270, bogged down as you ramp on from 55 through Gravois, and then Big Bend up to Ladou's, pretty busy most of the way through. Northbound 55, south of Butler Hill up to 270. It's a solid jam from the Union Road overpass up to Weber downtown. Westbound 64 from 50 through 159's on the brakes, and then it's slow approaching Route 3 onto the Poplar after that. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says opening day 94. I mean, it just keeps rising and rising. That would shatter the record of 87 set back in 1991 for March 26. For today, a high of 61. And then tonight, low 45. Then we warm up, high of 81 tomorrow. 94 for Thursday, and Joe also says we could get a couple of thunderstorms around that could produce hail and damaging winds. Currently, it's 40 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
KMOX is watching Jefferson City lawmakers' legislation regarding revamping the state blind pension fund. Republican State Representative Tim Taylor has a bill that would have changed the way the pensions were funded. It would take the funding of the state's constitution and allow legislators to allocate the money as they see fit. Maria Kina reports today that bill has been withdrawn, but that doesn't mean the blind pensions will remain untouched.
That's because Denny Huff with the Missouri Council of the Blind tells KMOX there are two more bills that will also radically change the blind fund. One House bill is proposing taking $64 million from the fund and giving it to the public school system. Another reduces the levy amount. Huff says this is not the first time the MCB has had to go to battle with Missouri lawmakers.
We ran into battle with the state several years ago, a couple of times. The Missouri Council of the Blind filed a lawsuit against the state of Missouri in 2006. And eventually in 2018, we did win that lawsuit, that they were not paying us what they should be paying us. And also, as you remember, probably in 2012, we worked with Charlie Brennan on them wanting to take the medical coverage away from the blind pension recipients. And we did win that battle also with the help of Governor Nixon and Charlie Brennan and KMOX Radio. It was just a tremendous battle, and we did come victorious. But what they're trying to do this year, I don't know why there's so much attention drawn to the blind pension, but there is, seems like a lot of attention on the blind pension fund. It's easy money for them, and it seems like they just want to, maybe they're having a shortfall on the budget, but don't take it out on the blind pensioners. Find it someplace else.
If there's any one group, it's certainly the blind community. And I guess I had talked with Jeff. You heard about Jeff Creech, and I had asked him, how difficult is it to break through up there? And he said it's really difficult. Now, you've been up there today. You're advocating for the entire blind community. What are you running into up there? Is there anybody that's saying, like, no, we can't do this?
There are some that some of the House representatives, this bill, HB 2002, has passed the budget committee of the House, but there are some that are totally against taking this money out. It's sad to say, or, I don't want to be political here, but it seems like the Republicans are more in favor of it than the Democrats are. That's just the way it all goes, I guess. It is difficult, and I don't expect any of this to pass this year. I'm hoping that if it does pass, then we can go to the governor and he can do a line item veto on that. But that remains to be seen. We're prepared to do whatever battle we need to do, Marie.
Denny Huff has a meeting with an aide to Governor Kehoe later today. KMOX will continue following developments regarding the Blind Pension Fund. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The only people that do think the map is in effect are probably Catherine Hanaway and Denny Hoskins.
That's the response from People Not Politicians Executive Director Richard Von Glahn. It comes after Cole County Judge Stumpy ruled on the referendum language that will appear on the November ballot challenging the state's new congressional map. Judge Stumpy is also expected to rule whether the old congressional maps are in effect or the new gerrymandered ones by the end of filing.
Could certainly come after the deadline. An important consideration in Missouri is that you don't actually have to live in the congressional district for which you file. Obviously, there's some advantage to doing so. And so we're hopeful for legal resolution on all of these cases in a timely manner. I think that's what both candidates for office and, more importantly, Missouri voters deserve.
Von Glahn maintains that Judge Stumpy's ruling definitively states that HB1 is not in effect.
Lawmakers returned to the Capitol this week with Governor Kehoe pushing his plan to slowly phase out Missouri's income tax. The House approved it. A state Senate committee expected to debate that soon. Columbia Senator Stephen Weber says the proposal could put future state revenues at risk and add new taxes on certain local services.
Governor Kehoe tells MissouriNet that he will stay very involved as he believes it is a great option for Missourians to be able to vote on.
Puts us in a competitive nature with other states, and we're excited that it's over in the Senate now.
The House joint resolution would link future income tax cuts to state revenue growth, and if approved by the Senate, it would be to Missouri voters likely on the next statewide ballot.
Some good news for the Lake of the Ozarks. A new study by fishing platform Fishbox that was featured in Travel and Leisure ranks the Lake of the Ozarks the fourth cleanest lake in the United States out of 100 major lakes they analyzed. Researchers looked at water quality indicators that included dissolved oxygen, nutrient levels, and mineral content. At the top of the list was Lake Superior.
It's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Always a pleasure to tell you about the Missouri Athletic Club. This is going to be very cool. We're going to have the USBWA Awards coming up in the spring. We're going to have I don't know if they've announced this yet, so maybe I shouldn't jump the gun. But I will tell you this, dear listeners, they have a mega guest coming to the United States Basketball Writers Association Awards, the USBWA Awards, this coming April. I'll just leave it at that. That is a college basketball awards dinner at the MAC that is a national awards dinner. The Oscar Robertson Trophy is handed out. The Coach of the Year for the men and the women, Player of the Year for the men and the women, the Dean Smith Award winner, which is a legacy award, a lifetime achievement award in college basketball. It is just an incredible night. The Missouri Athletic Club does this now every year. And the MAC's kind of cornered the market on big awards, both locally and nationally. And this is a tremendous one. The USBWA Awards, proud to host it, proud to be part of it at the MAC. mac-stl.org.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Cardinals Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, it's that time of year again, man. It's starting to warm up. And you know the sun's getting a little brighter. I can hear the crack of the bat.
Yeah, the true pros are doing just a little bit of stretching here and there, getting rid of those winter kinks, getting ready for those days that really count, Eddie. I'm talking about the ones you'll always remember at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Boy, now that you got that right. It is all they can do to get ready for the lineup of the delicious eats, man. It's a half-pound Fat Eddie burger. Man, it's a hot chick on a stick, that big elwood on a stick, and you know the succulent peel and eat shrimp are sitting over there on deck.
You do know I have to stretch out a little bit before I start hitting that dance floor, listening to that live music 7 days a week on that huge outdoor patio.
Well, it's like any other training, man. You got to warm up to get that party face on. It's really difficult out there to have that much fun on that warm, toasty patio. You know, like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, it's Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It is 7:30. We've got some bright sunshine now in downtown St. Louis. It's 38 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got a crash now on eastbound Highway 70. Before you get to TR Hughes, it's in the left lane, so just be careful there. I mentioned about traffic being pretty heavy there last report, and we're not a jam, but it's bogged down from about approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard, really, in the area there. Westbound 270, looks like we have an incident right before you get to McDonald. There's a backup just west of Lindbergh over to that one. If you're on eastbound 64, it's a little busy. Prospect to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Chesterfield Parkway west to about Mason, there's some heavy traffic, 270 into Spady, and then through the Interbelt, the westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley's heavy, south 170 backs up at Brentwood, south 270, 364 to 64 slow, north 270 as you ramp on from 55 up to 44, then Big Bend to Manchester, north of there, approaching Clayton Road up to Ladue is busy. Northbound 55, the right lanes are slow near Mattis. It's backed up. Union Road overpass up to Weber pretty solidly. And westbound 64, also a solid jam, 50 to 159, and then slow from 3rd Street headed for the Poplar. Next update is 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, weather-wise, it's another week where we are all over the place and heading into record-breaking territory for Cardinals home opening day. Today, clouds and sun, 61. Tomorrow, breezy, partly sunny, 81. Then Thursday, it is going to be 94 degrees, which would be a record breaker. And then we'll have some strong to severe thunderstorms pushing through. Joe Lundberg says most likely at night. So we should be able to get the game and all the festivities in. So that's the great news. But be prepared for a hot day at Busch Stadium. And then some showers and back down to 55 for Friday. Right now it's 38 downtown.
It's 7:32 now. Back to our coverage of the St. Louis County Council Ethics Committee moving to subpoena records tied to an investigation into County Executive Sam Page.
The indications we have right now is that there's some pretty egregious charter violations. I don't know if the evidence is going to support that or not.
The committee is looking into allegations that Page continued working as an anesthesiologist at SSM Health while serving as county executive, which would violate a change to the charter approved by voters in 2022. Billing records obtained by a county resident allegedly show Page's medical license number was used to bill Medicare on dozens of occasions. The committee voted to recommend subpoenas targeting SSM Health, a billing group, state records, and the resident who brought the complaint. Councilmember Rita Herday says the focus now needs to stay on the facts.
We need to make sure that we let the evidence dictate how we move forward. We need to make sure that we are clear on what and not necessarily jump to any conclusions at this particular point, that we get the information that we need and we make our findings based on that rather than suppositions.
The resident who filed the original ethics complaint documented 42 separate instances of billing under Page's name. Evidence committee members say raises questions regardless of whether Page says the work was unpaid. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Page says the real story is the county's deepening budget crisis, which has already forced pool closures and reduced hours at government centers. He says more furloughs and service cuts are on the way.
Dr. Page is calling the council's focus on his volunteer work a distraction from what he calls their own short-sighted budget decisions.
The county council will decide whether or not to move forward with a subpoena of County Executive Sam Page's alleged employers. Councilman Mark Carter says the subpoenas would demand answers within 2 to 3 weeks. With payments to Page in question, Archer says the findings will be black and white.
There's no gray area here. Either he got paid or he didn't.
Archer says if Page is found to have violated the county charter by working a second job and getting paid, they will forward that information to the courts for potential removal of Page from office or criminal charges.
It is 7:34, and this is Total Information AM. Stick around because we've got your Money Minute from Bloomberg coming up next.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Thursday. Wear your red and celebrate with us live from Kegs and Eggs at Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village. Join us for exclusive opening day coverage presented by Budweiser, Dirt Cheap, and Rally House. Chris and Amy get things started at 9 a.m., followed by Ron G at Ackerman at 11, and Glover and Wheeler taking over at noon. From special guests to Cardinals alumni, we've got everything you need to kick off the season. With the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Larry Older here. You know, one of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start. And see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. All one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Let's get you your money report sponsored by Busey Bank. It's 7:36. It's Total Information AM.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute.
President Trump signaled a possible end to the Middle East conflict following what he described as productive talks with Iran. The positive sentiment sent stocks soaring yesterday, but that optimism is fading this morning after the Wall Street Journal reported that U.S. allies in the Persian Gulf are inching toward joining the fight against Iran. Stock futures are little changed this morning. Meantime, the FCC has ordered a ban on the import of new models of foreign-produced consumer wireless routers, citing national security concerns. While the FCC said companies could apply for exemptions, the move could dramatically shake up the market for routers, which are primarily made overseas. And in other news, Toyota outlined plans to invest $1 billion to increase its vehicle output at its plants in Kentucky and Indiana. Toyota declined to specify how many more vehicles will be produced, and the company says no new jobs will be created from this investment. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
There's nothing like hearing your friends and family clearly. A grandchild's laugh, conversation with a friend, or the punchline to a joke. Charlie Brennan here with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler and her team understand that hearing is personal. That's why you'll always work with certified audiologists like Adam Voss, Bailey Campbell, and Dr. Colleen Bosler.
That's right, Charlie. We offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so our recommendations are based on what fits you best. With us, we follow best practice fitting methods to ensure your hearing aids are programmed precisely for your unique hearing needs. But our care doesn't end when you walk out the door. As we know, hearing aids require continued support, adjustments, and maintenance, and we offer these services at no extra cost to you. Because better hearing isn't just about devices, it's about reconnecting to the moments that matter most. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
If you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're just thinking about retirement more in general, you're probably thinking about when can you retire? Will you have enough money to live on? You know, we all have retirement questions that, let's be honest, they're overwhelming and just can stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions so that you'll feel more confident about this next phase of your life. Check out his show, The All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 and Sunday evenings at 6 here on KMOX.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
We will discuss the Nelson Velazquez move being left off the 26-man roster with Bernie and Chris. I'm Tom. We're going to hear from Chaim Bloom in depth on that here in just a few minutes. Right now, Roger Brandon, the overhead door company of the St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's busy on the highways right now, Tom. This traffic report service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. We have a jam eastbound 70 Warrenton about midway into the Wright City Rest area. Then you're bogged down again approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard. That crashed in the left lane at just east of, or before you get to TR Hughes, rather. If you're on westbound 270, they were clearing a crash from the left lane before McDonald Boulevard. Traffic's backed up at the Interbelt. Eastbound 64 Prospect to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Boone's Crossing to Timberlake's heavy. It's slow east of Lindbergh. into Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at Olive. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley's heavy. South 270, 364 to Ladue slow. North 270 backs up ramping on from 55. Then it's slow to 44. And north of 44 to Manchester, a little break. And then again, heavy all the way up to Ladue. Northbound 55 backed up from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pears, still slow up through Holly Hills. Westbound 64 jam 50 to 159, and it's slow from the 70 split across the Poplar. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It is 7:42, and it's a beautiful sunny morning. Looking out the windows here of Studio B, our AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg is joining us, and they say variety is the spice of life, and that is how I am dealing with this forecast this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's we started out, Sunday, upper 80s. Yesterday, we were in the low 50s. Today, we rebound to 61 with sun and clouds. Partly cloudy tonight, mid-40s. All of a sudden, we jump back into summery-type warmth tomorrow, partly sunny and becoming breezy with a high of 81 or better. The record is 84 from 1907. And then we just go right into full-fledged summer mode on Thursday with sunshine. Opening day baseball is going to be a scorcher with a high of 94. We get there, that would wipe out the record of 87 for the date from 1991, but will also eclipse the all-time March record of 92 that was set March 24th, 1929. Then we get thunderstorms Thursday night. That's with a cold front coming through. And it means business behind it. Maybe a couple of showers Friday morning. The big thing is breezy and much, much colder with some late day sun. The high just 55. Sunshine returns for Saturday. The high about 59. Right now it's 40 degrees at St. Peter's, 38 in Florissant, 41 with some sunshine downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. It's 7:43, and Illinois Incentive hopes to keep locally grown food in the state. Capital News Illinois reports the state-funded program is offering $3.6 million to farmers in order to support the infrastructure needed to make locally grown food more accessible in Illinois. The program was started in 2023 with a main goal to change the fact that 95% of the food consumed in Illinois is imported.
Program advocates say the lack of support offered to small farmers directly impacts the rate in which food is kept and consumed in Illinois communities. The Local Food Infrastructure Grant Program is open to Illinois farmers through March 27th.
Illinois' top law enforcement officer says billions of dollars worth of funding for everything from school lunch programs to assistance for families in the state is at risk over new federal rules that he calls unconstitutional. WBBM political editor Jeff Buchholz reports on Illinois' latest lawsuit against the feds.
This must stop. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul says this is the 57th lawsuit he's joined or filed against the administration on behalf of the state. It focuses on a new list of requirements the Ag Department says states must follow in order to receive money already appropriated by Congress. It includes prohibitions on giving benefits to undocumented immigrants and using funds to, quoting now, promote gender ideology. Raul calls the list vague and says it's outside USDA's authority. They are again disregarding our Constitution. They are threatening our health and safety and the survival of our crops and natural resources. Raul says the orders cover more than $5.5 billion in federal funds for Illinois, most of which goes toward the food assistance program known as SNAP. An Agriculture Department spokesperson says the agency does not comment on pending litigation. Jeff Buchholz, News Radio 105.9, WBBM.
Hey, one of the newest offerings at Busch Stadium this year is a twist on a St. Louis favorite, fried gooey butter cake on a stick. I'd be willing to try that. You could also find hot dog burnt ends, birria ramen, and a Nashville hot chicken and waffle sandwich. There will be a new Made in the Lou stand that'll feature rotating local eateries. Also new this year, all-you-can-eat tickets starting as low as $29. Fans in Big Mac Land can choose up to 3 items per concession stand visit. The Crumble Cookie stand returns. There's a new Popfly bar that'll sport different themes throughout the season. And there's also a new $5 value menu for hot dogs, nachos, and soda.
I saw there's also a Where'd You Go pop-up about all the high schools in the city.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm willing to try the fried gooey butter cake.
Yeah, I'll take a pass
Maybe
on that.
at least just once.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Gooey butter cake is great. That's why it's great. It's called gooey butter cake. I don't need it fried on a stick, but I appreciate the effort otherwise. But, a lot of people are going to try that. By the way, it's going to be 94 on Thursday. Our bodies have not adjusted to that heat yet. I know we can handle heat in St. Louis, but it's March. So, beer doesn't count in terms of hydration. Hydrate. Make sure. We want everybody to be safe on opening day. It's 7:46. All right, let's just stay on Cardinals here throughout this sportscast and stay on this topic. This was much talked about in social media yesterday, and I think it's important to listen to Cardinals fans when they want to know why. Why is Nelson Velazquez off this 26-man roster? Here is President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom.
Yeah, tough one. He had a great spring. Really, there's nothing else we could have wanted out of him that we didn't see in the spring. Validates a lot of why we brought him here, and it was a tough one. Really comes down to, spring training is a big part of these decisions. It is not the entirety of the decision. And we wanted to keep all of our players. There's things we like about all these guys. Obviously, some of them had better springs than others. But like I said, that's not the whole decision. And this allows us to keep everybody in the organization. If Nelson keeps doing in Memphis what he did in spring training, I would think that he'll be a part of this at some point.
And what did JJ show you?
The same thing he's shown us since day one. He's a pro. He was happy. But I think he's gone about his business this entire camp like a big leaguer goes about his business. It's not just what he does on the field, it's how he does everything. He is very consistent, very professional. So he was happy. He gave us a smile, but he was himself.
Hi, you spoke to it a little bit there, but with JJ, that's going to require at least 140-man spot. Is that the determining factor with Velazquez as well in terms of trying to keep all of your guys and figuring out how that fits together?
Yeah, and we don't have an announcement on that yet. Wednesday will be when we officially set the roster. Obviously, we'll make a move at that time. It was a factor. Yeah, not the only factor, but, I talked about just wanting to keep all of our players. So that's both about the 26 and the 40, potentially, and, certainly factored in.
That's Chaim Bloom talking about Nelson Velazquez. He led the Cardinals in all of those power numbers and hits in spring training, but he will start the season in Memphis, not a part of the 40-man roster. So the question there, the follow-up, was that the factor? And he said it was a factor, leaving him in that situation where they would have to replace two players on the 40-man roster was not something they wanted to do. We'll see what they end up doing as we move along here closer to opening day on Thursday, right here on KMOX.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's Burn Balance Edge for men, Burn Balance Zen for women, available at supplement superstores. This is the top of the line. A complete metabolism system. An all-natural weight loss option, by the way, for people who don't want to get into prescriptions. If you don't like needles, this is for you. And it gets your metabolism working at peak levels, helps you with appetite control and cravings, all-day focused energy. So get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you, and they will knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. To find your location, go to supplementsuperstores.com.
St. Louis's unofficial holiday is almost here. It's Cardinals opening day, Thursday, March 26th. And KMOX's Cakes and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, is back. This year with a new twist. You don't need a ticket to enjoy KMOX's live broadcast at Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village, featuring Cardinals alumni, front office personnel, special guests, and so much more. First come, first serve. Door Doors open at 9 a.m. Celebrate opening day with dirt cheap Budweiser and Rally House. More info at KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:51 and time for us to check in with Roger Brand. Let's see how things are going on the morning rush from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, really busy, Debbie. The flatbed tow truck just pulling up on the scene with his crash in the left lane now, eastbound 70 before T.R. Hughes. It's backed up at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Westbound 270 backed up from 170 through Lindbergh. We had a crash around the bend at McDonald. They were clearing from the left lane, but it's still bumper to bumper there. Eastbound 64 approaching Boone's Crossing all the way in through Maryville Center, and then east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt's heavy. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley's slow, and again Lindbergh out to Ballas. Southbound 170 bogs down at Olive. South 270 Dorset down to Ladue is busy. North 270 is off the pace from north of 55 pretty much all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 44 141 past Bowles, Lindbergh into Elm. There's some heavier traffic. Northbound 55 from a Union Road overpass up through Holly Hills is on the brakes. Westbound 64 a jam 50 through 159, and then it's slow from the 70 split across the Poplar after that. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we talked about that heat on opening day. Otherwise, we're looking at 61 today, 45 for the low tonight, 81 for the high tomorrow, and then Thursday, 94 for the high with a chance of a thunderstorm as well. Currently, it's 42 downtown.
The news continues at 7:53 on the 16th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act. Advocates for people with AIDS and HIV say changes to federal health care policies are coming at the worst time.
People living with HIV are living longer, healthier lives.
John Peller of the AIDS Foundation of Chicago says that's because the Affordable Care Act has helped funnel about 18,000 people with HIV and AIDS in Illinois onto Medicaid, but that coverage, he says, is becoming harder to keep.
Marketplace premiums have gone up by 50% for people living with HIV.
And he says new work requirements set to take effect next year could kick 10,000 people with HIV off Medicaid. Anusha Thodakura from Citizen Action Illinois calls them paperwork requirements designed to make it harder to get assistance.
The vast majority of people who are currently on Medicaid already are working.
Peller says this is all happening as HIV infection rates head in the wrong direction.
In Chicago in 2024, we saw a 12% increase in new HIV diagnoses.
He and other advocates want Congress to reverse course on Medicaid. We're in the loop. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 105.9, WBBM.
Thousands of pounds of food sold in Trader Joe's across the nation have been recalled. The FDA announced the recall of food distributed by Ajinomoto Foods North America, Inc., due to the presence of foreign objects. The recall includes almost 10,000 pounds of Trader Joe's vegetable fried rice, which contained glass measuring 1.3 centimeters long and 2 to 4 millimeters wide. The announcement comes after another recall from earlier this month. This one was for Trader Joe's chicken fried rice and Trader Joe's chicken shumai.
If you like Korean food, you may be interested to know that a side dish could help get your body get rid of dangerous microplastics.
A new study finds probiotic foods like kimchi, made from fermented cabbage or Korean radish, are not only good for your gut, but work to remove micro and nanoplastics from your system. They can infiltrate cells, tissues, and even the blood-brain barrier. They've been linked to Crohn's disease, colitis, and other diseases that can increase the risk of diabetes and colorectal cancer. Scientists found the lactic acid strains in kimchi can absorb one of the most common forms of nanoplastics derived from polystyrene before it's excreted. The study from the World Institute of Kimchi is published in Bioresource Technology. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
And a new study published in the Lancet Gastroenterology and Hepatology Journal found that alcohol-related liver disease may be 3 times higher than previously thought. The researchers found that binge drinking plays a big part, and most people actually underreport how much they consume. Georgetown University professor Zobair Younasi on what needs to be done.
We need to recognize these diseases as non-communicable diseases and develop policies for every country, for every region, for World Health Organization that could put a dent and a change and hopefully in the future burden of this disease.
At higher risk are those who are obese, have type 2 diabetes, and women.
A major global study of the world's freshwater migratory fish has found more than 300 species in decline or at risk of collapse. Lead author Zeb Hogan says losing them would deprive the world of some of its biggest, rarest marine species.
These migratory fish are some of the largest and rarest fish on Earth. Giant catfish that can get over 600 pounds, huge sturgeon. So these are fish that can migrate thousands of miles.
It is now 7:56, and you are listening to Total Information AM.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Oh, just a moment to talk about St. Louis Public Library, one of my absolute favorite places. Central Library across the street. My neighborhood branch is Carpenter. There's so many of them around the city, and you can get your library card free if you are a St. Louis City, St. Louis County, or St. Charles County resident. And I always say it's worth its weight in gold. Love partnering with St. Louis Public Library on Book Chat. It's on Facebook. We have about almost 1,700 members now. And today is my monthly author interview, and it is with Patty Pruitt. You may remember Patty Pruitt. She spent 38 years in prison for the murder of her husband, which she has always proclaimed her innocence. She received clemency. She's written 2 books, a children's book. She's got 3 college degrees. She really is an amazing person. So she'll be joining us at noon. You have to be a member of Book Chat to watch that interview, but just go to Facebook and type in Book Chat with Debbie Monterrey and St. Louis Public Library. If you'd like information about all the services the library provides and all the ways they can save you money, just log on to slpl.org. St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Bernie Miklos here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Got some traffic out there. Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, they're still working the crashes in the left lanes, Tom. Eastbound 70 just before TR Hughes. Looks like that one's about wrapped up, but it's still a solid jam back to Bryan Road. And then the one, actually we had 2 of them, but the one that's still out there in the left lane is westbound 270 west of Lindbergh. Traffic's jammed back almost to New Florissant right now on westbound 270. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, there's still heavy pockets coming from Boone's Crossing through Clarkson. It's slow from Lindbergh all the way through 170. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, heavy. South 170 bogs down at Olive. Next update at 8:10 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin at the airports where lines are longer than ever, with Congress still stalled on ending the partial government shutdown that's denying TSA workers their paychecks. Correspondent Skylar Henry is at Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta.
Travelers that we spoke with, they were in line for 4, 5, maybe even 6 hours. Some even forced to rebook, trying to figure out how to navigate these lines as well. We should point out ICE agents are here. They are here to assist what the Trump administration says as it relates to crowd control and the like.
Democrats in Washington are still balking at funding for the Department of Homeland Security. President Trump is urging Republicans not to budge until they approve his Voting Rights Act. Iran has fired a barrage of missiles at Israel. Officials say they hit Tel Aviv after President Trump reported strong talks with Iran to end the war. Correspondent Elizabeth Palmer is at the foreign desk.
Sources tell us that senior members of Iran's regime, and remember, some of the most experienced and powerful have been killed. The ones that are left are fighting like mad about what to do next, to talk, to stand firm, or to even up the pressure on the world's oil supply until America is desperate to make concessions.
The Senate has confirmed the president's pick for Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen.
The yeas are 54, the nays are 37, and the motion is agreed to.
He'll succeed Kristi Noem, who came under heavy criticism for ICE operations in Minnesota. Free speech concerns at Boston University after it removed Israeli flags and pride flags from campus buildings.
The university says the flags broke its rule against hanging displays that could suggest the school endorses them. BU and many other schools have adopted neutrality policies since the campus protests over the war in Gaza. These BU students say removing the flags was wrong.
Especially for a school that touts themselves as being an open and accepting space for all students.
I think it's really important for people to be able to express their political beliefs in an institution.
The university says its neutrality policy is not singling out any specific communities. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A quadruple amputee cornhole champion is facing murder charges. The Charles County, Maryland Sheriff's Office says he killed a passenger in the front seat of his car while he was driving, as the two argued. CBS's Chanel Call.
A gun enthusiast, Weber posted videos to his personal YouTube channel showing him loading and firing several shots from a handgun. Investigators say it's another skill he's mastered.
Afghanistan's leader says Colorado researcher Dennis Coyle, who'd been held there for more than a year, has just been released. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, March 24th. I'm Megan Lynch. The St. Louis County Council Ethics Committee yet again investigating whether County Executive Sam Page violated the law by practicing medicine while in office.
I would move that this ethics committee.
The committee voted to recommend 4 subpoenas targeting SSM Health, its billing affiliate Western Anesthesiologists, state records, and the county resident who first filed the complaint with the Missouri Ethics Commission, alleging Page billed Medicare for medical services despite his maintaining the work was unpaid volunteering. But Councilman Mark Harder says that explanation raises its own concerns.
Is that kind of normal to have a volunteer in a working in a surgical suite for people? I don't know if I would want to know that I've got volunteers working on me in an operation.
The allegations come after the 2022 charter change that barred the county executive from holding any outside job. If the allegations are proven, the council could file a complaint in court, a process that could result in criminal charges and Page's removal from office. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Page calls the council's scrutiny an unserious spectacle. He says some people simply can't comprehend that an elected official would do something without being paid. Page says he's volunteered at a hospital for years and has also helped at food drives and neighborhood cleanups. St. Louis City Police believe the curfew moving up 2 hours was successful this past weekend, with no juveniles detained the rest of the weekend after 23 on Friday night. Police spokesman Mitch McCoy says parents of the children who were detained should expect to receive a citation.
You need to be on the lookout in the mail this week or next week to receive that summons because there is a court date.
McCoy says they were surprised by the broad support for the curfew moving up and encourages anyone who believes it should be moved up permanently to contact their local alderman. Deadly hit-and-run crashes a growing problem across the Show Me State. A new study from AAA reports nearly 1 in 3 pedestrian traffic deaths in Missouri involve a hit-and-run driver. About 15% of those deaths involved a driver who fled the scene in 2014. By 2023, that number had risen to more than 30%. The report also showed the crashes are more likely to happen at night, with nearly 75% of the accidents occurring after dark. The data showed most likely for pedestrian hit-and-runs was 9 p.m. A man electrocuted from power lines near Labadie Power Plant. Franklin County Sheriff's Office says 34-year-old Cody Lashley of Beaufort died after being electrocuted while allegedly attempting to steal copper wire Sunday near the Labadie Power Plant. KSDK reports the deputies found his body Sunday. The Sheriff's Office says Lashley was attempting to steal copper wire by cutting it from electric poles when a pole snapped and fell. He was then electrocuted when the lines touched him. We're learning more about plans for a new $231 million Touche Regional Hospital complex in the Metro East. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports.
The Southern Illinois Healthcare Foundation owns Touche Regional Hospital, which opened at its current location in 1958. The plan is to build a totally new complex along Sandy Ridge Road near I-255 in Cahokia Heights, with openings set for late 2029 or early 2030. Once approved, the new facility would double the available beds for behavioral health patients. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
One of the newest offerings at Busch Stadium this year is a twist on a St. Louis favorite, fried gooey butter cake on a stick. You can also find hot dog burnt ends, Berea ramen, and a Nashville hot chicken and waffle sandwich. There's a new Made in the Lou stand that will feature rotating local eateries. Also new this year, all-you-can-eat tickets starting as low as $29. Fans in Big Mac land can choose up to 3 items per concession stand visit. The Crumble Cookie stand returns, and the new Pop Fly Bar will support different themes throughout the season. There will also be a $5 value menu for hot dogs, nachos, and soda. From the KMOX business desk, a city development agency moves closer to clearing 2 troubled downtown properties. The LCRA board being asked Tuesday to authorize bids to demolish the Railway Exchange Garage, a full city block at 6th and Pine that's cost the city more than $500,000 to secure. The garage has been vacant and plagued by crime for years. The adjacent Railway Exchange building itself, once home to Famous Bar, remains in legal limbo as the agency works through the courts to purchase it. Coming up on Total Information AM, is a data center plan a good deal for Festus? I'll talk with the mayor coming up. First, we'll get a check of traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU Medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center.
Once you're 45 and over, even if you're not having symptoms or even if you don't have a family history, we recommend everyone get screened for colorectal cancer because everyone is at risk. Everyone is at risk, even if you're not having symptoms.
This is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and for more information, you can visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Okay, I have some really good news. While we do have the 0% a lot, we do have it on our regular products because you will be unbelievably shocked, especially if you call me and I'll give you the straight up scoop on how much money you can actually save by if you spent $20,000 versus $10,000 on a system. The difference could be as little as, I don't know, let's just say, not to exaggerate, 5 cents. So be careful out there, and always remember your energy savings is based on your house. It is not based on the equipment. So common sense advice and help and guidance. Again, call me Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest, 314-293-2600. Again, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, that is bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It's 8:10 at Total Information AM. Let's get a check of the roads now with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We still have a jam in North County, Megan. We had several crashes, one near McDonald, another one near Lindbergh. They were both in the left lane. It looks like they've both been cleared. And we had another one in the left lane at 170. It looks like they may have just cleared that one. Traffic's jammed, New Florist into 170. Still backed up through Lindbergh on westbound 270, so it's still trouble. Eastbound 70, Bryan Road in toward Highway K. Hopefully it's just volume unwinding. We don't have another problem. The earlier problem was at TR Hughes, but there's still a jam there, eastbound 70 at that point. If you're on eastbound 64, it's a little slow coming in through Prospect. After that, it's busy east of 270 in pockets, primarily Lindbergh into Big Bend. South 170, a couple of slowdowns approaching Delmar to 64. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. North 270, north of 55 to Gravois, and then 44 all the way up to Ladou's busy. 44 Lindbergh through Barry and approaching Laclede Station. We have a couple of heavy spots. Northbound 141 at 21, they were clearing a minor crash. Traffic's jammed back through the Merrimack Station area. If you're on back to Seacoast Lane, I guess pretty close to that. And northbound 55 from north of Union overpass up to Holly Hills heavy. Westbound 64 west of 50 through 159, and from the 70 split to the Poplar slow. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
Intervals of clouds and sun today, the high 61, then partly cloudy tonight, low 45. A mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, breezy, much warmer in the afternoon, high 81. The record is 84 from 1907. Thursday, plenty of sunshine, breezy and hot, high 94. That would crush the record of 87 set in 1991. That'll be followed by some strong thunderstorms Thursday night. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have sunny skies, 39 degrees in Florissant, 41 in St. Peters. We have 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. The Festus High School gym packed last night as that community is close to inking a deal on a data center. Joining me this morning is Festus Mayor Sam Richards. Mayor, thank you so much for getting up and joining us this morning here on KMOX.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, this proposal is for a 365-acre development. First off, describe for our listeners where this would be located in Festus.
It's located west of Highway 67 and CC Highway, and it's right now it's a wooded area.
Now, I understand there are some homes nearby. What are the plans for the homes if this goes forward?
Well, there is going to be some buyouts, maybe, if the people want to be bought out. I think it's 12 homes that has been designated or looked at for possible buyout.
When we look at the developer, CRG, does this company have previous experience successfully completing data centers?
Yes, they do.
What do you say to residents who have a number of times expressed concerns that there hasn't been transparency about all the discussions with that developer?
Well, what I say to them, and they don't seem to agree with, is that we have had no behind-the-door meetings with CRG, and we've been open and up front.
As you know, as you heard last night from residents, there are a number who are still pretty skeptical, even after hearing more about this plan. You know, some people even saying they don't think that the council is going to take their concerns into account. What's your response to that?
Well, we are taking their complaints into account. We've had, we had the meeting last night where they got to say what they wanted to say, but we have we've talked to CRG about certain things to make sure that the neighbors are taken care of.
Do you know at this point, has CRG said, is there a guaranteed tenant or tenants for this data center development?
They have not told us as yet who it is, an end user. We do not know who the end user might be.
Talk about some of the finances of this deal as it's proposed at this point, as far as what Festus would be on the hook for, what the developer would be on the hook for, and maybe some benefits that might come the community's way.
As far as what Festus is going to be on the hook for, we're not if they need to have more power, it's up to them to pay for it. If they need water, they have to buy it from the city of Festus and not from any other entity. If there's infrastructure for the water that needs to be taken care of, CRG is going to have to pay for that too. So, the city is not on the hook for anything. Also, if there's any road repairs or anything like that need to be done, road improvements, then CRG is on the hook for that also.
Mayors, other communities have expressed concerns about facilities like this really impacting the atmosphere of a community because of just the massive size of it. Do you have those concerns for your community?
No, I think everything will be fine. Yeah, it's going to be a big facility, but number one, it's going to be hidden from view. They have guaranteed to us that the lighting is going to not light up the sky around the neighborhood, and water use will not be as much as what originally thought. So, I think it should be okay.
I know that one of the figures that was tossed out as far as an annual benefit to the community was around $53 million. Do you believe that's truly possible?
That's over a 25-year period.
Okay.
But what is going to happen? I know we're going to get $3 million the first a year, the first 5 years. The next 5 years, we're going to get $5 million a year. They're going to give us $5 million to build a new firehouse, and that's all community benefits. And then that is not have anything to do with the amount of utility tax they're going to have to pay for the use of their electricity.
So at this point, what's the timeline? For example, when would you expect the council to vote, and then what would be the next steps?
We have a meeting next Monday where we could approve the development plan, the financing and the other things that we want to have done, and then they have to have 2 community meetings and 2 open houses to explain the drawings and the layout of how it's going to work.
Well, Mayor, thank you again. I know it was a late meeting last night, and I appreciate you joining us this morning to provide us some more details.
All righty. Thank you for calling.
That is Festus Mayor Sam Richards joining us this morning here on KMOX. Still ahead on Total Information AM, the Supreme Court set to rule on whether mail-in ballots can be counted after Election Day. It could impact Illinois. I'll be joined next by CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. First, though, let's get a check of your drive into work with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, it's busy but getting better out there. This traffic report's a service of Artistic Decks. If you're on northbound Highway 270, Gravois, all the way up to Ladue, that's still pretty busy. Eastbound 70 is cleared out. Out west, there's a little slowdown east of David Hokel on the Wentzville Parkway, but that run through TR Hughes is thinned out. Westbound 270, we've got a backup Washington Elizabeth into New Florissant, and then a slowdown at the Interbelt. It's still heavy around the bend, Lindbergh and McDonald. We've had 3 different crashes up in that area today recently. Eastbound 64 is still busy. Prospect toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard, Mason to 270, Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, slow. South 170, bogged down at the Parkway. North 270, Gravois to Ladue's busy. 44 Berry Road through Elm and Edgar is a little heavy, and then we're backed up again. Southwest Avenue up to about Kings Highway, northbound 55, a solid jam from the Union Road overpass up across River to Pear, westbound 64, west of 50 through 159, and then slow from the 70 split to the Poplar. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, we're going to have a mix of clouds and sun, a high of 61, partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 45. Right now we have sunshine, 38 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call Zero Res. Springing forward feels better on freshly cleaned carpets and floors. Let Zero Res remove lingering grime and preparing your home for the brighter days ahead. Check out all the raging customer reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating. This month, buy one, get one room of carpet clean for free. Unlimited rooms of carpet when you ask for the DGS special. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forward or backwards. Spells the same, Zero Res.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions. So it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me. 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
During Lowe's Pro Savings Days, the job works in your favor. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members buy more and save more on materials they rely on every day. Get up to 25% off select molding when you spend $1,000 or more, and up to 25% off Pergo Evercraft laminate flooring. Put Pro Savings Days to work for you. Members get more at Lowe's. Valid through 3/27. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowes.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Every business starts with an idea. With Smart Business Buying from Amazon Business, get everything you need to grow in one familiar place. From office supplies to IT essentials and maintenance tools. Ready to bring your visions to life? Learn how at AmazonBusiness.com.
The nation's highest court trying to answer the question of what happens to mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. It could affect voters in Illinois. Let's turn to CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Good morning, Thane.
Good morning, Megan.
I guess the question here is, does federal law set a single election day?
Well, the election clause of the Constitution sets a day, but that doesn't, the question is what's supposed to take place on that day? That's really what the court needs to decide. Does it matter that the vote itself take place on that day, or is the counting that's taking place on that day? So, you know, the general principles in that there is a day, but as long as the vote comes in or has postmarked before the day, then it should ultimately count. That's what Mississippi's rule is. And there's nearly 24 states that since the pandemic have now similar rules, that late arriving ballots are still counted as long as they are verifiably signed and submitted before Election Day, even if they arrive after the date itself.
I'm curious, beyond just those legal questions, does it matter to Supreme Court justices when they consider a case like this, if, for example, there's evidence of fraud or evidence that a ton of ballots came in late and impacted an election? Did they consider that at all?
Well, yeah, that's the reason why the judges were skeptical yesterday about the Mississippi law. Remember, you know, this is all a post-pandemic phenomenon. It used to be that mail-in absentee ballots were used only in very limited circumstances for people who were expatriates living abroad or the military. That was it. That's how states usually handled it. During the pandemic, in the 2000 election, 70 million ballots, unheard of amount of ballots were submitted through the mail. It was the key strategy for Donald Trump's voter integrity case to say that that's why I won, because there were a lot of ballots that came in that we can't trust, and that they weren't signed, or they weren't dated properly, or it didn't really necessarily verify whether you were the person versus somebody else in your household. So there's no question that the conservative justices on the Supreme Court have that in their mind, that there's nothing more reliable than when you get in your car with your driver's license and go over to a precinct and show them who you are, and then they'll give you a ballot. And so this plays into a strategy that Donald Trump introduced, which is that you simply can't rely on them in the same way. And that, in fact, in 2020, there were a lot of ballots that were probably counted that under earlier rules would not have been, because of the dating, the verification, the signature. You know, Megan, some of these states had rules where it required 2 envelopes. There was the first envelope sealed, and then it went into a bigger envelope, and that was sealed. And so then some of those ballots came back with just 1 envelope. And then the question was, should we count it or should we not count it? And most of those ballots all were counted. That doesn't mean that Donald Trump would have won the election. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that the Supreme Court clearly yesterday seemed to be skeptical that the mail-in ballots can be trusted as much as the people who are there on election day with their driver's license.
And just as a practical matter for people listening, even though the Supreme Court heard the arguments today, we likely will not have a decision probably, until summer?
Yeah, until just before July 4th weekend, or sometimes right after July 4th weekend. So the question here, which is a good question, is that this case might affect, the midterm elections, right? Because, there's a whole printing the ballots. And the question is, well, if you don't have it until July 4th. So the Supreme Court is probably not, most of the big decisions come out right before July 4th weekend. So we're not likely to see this before. And the question is whether or not this will affect any other state, because this will be a position by the court that essentially indicates whether it thinks that later writing ballots are permissible at all.
Thane, thank you so much.
Thank you, Megan.
That is CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum joining us this morning here on KMOX. It's now 8:29. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
It's time to check out the exterior of your home. Tom Ackerman with you. Siding and windows, 2 things that can make your home look like the best home in the neighborhood. It just makes a huge difference. And the best in the business is Banner Construction. Since 1993, they have been the best when it comes to Pella windows. They're a Pella window specialist. They're a preferred James Hardie contractor. They are Banner Construction. You don't want to go with a company that doesn't entirely know what it's doing or tries to cut corners or hasn't been around for a very long time. 1993 is when they started, so over 30 years of excellence. Go online and see for yourself all the great examples at bannerconstruction.com. Banner Construction will come over to your home. They'll give you a free in-home consultation. You're going to love their team. I really appreciate Banner Construction and what they do here in St. Louis. Visit them online, bannerconstruction.com, 314-569-1050, and have a banner day.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
I wanted a new color printer to add pizzazz to my prints.
Ooh, pizzazz can be pricey.
Well, now at Staples, you get up to 30% off select HP printers.
30% off at HP?
Yeah, I saved $120 on an HP Smart Tank 6001 with up to 3 years of ink included.
Why, that could be the last printer you'll ever need.
Could be.
Shop your local Staples today for big savings on HP.
That was easy.
Available in-store, online, or on the app. It's 4 exclusions apply.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water?
I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
8:31, time for an update on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they just called out EMS for another incident, Megan. Westbound 270 near McDonald Boulevard. Traffic's backed up from west of New Florissant into the Inner Belt, and then it's slow Lindbergh and McDonald, so it's still an issue in North County. We've had multiple crashes there this morning. Eastbound 70, a little busy. Earth City into 270. Eastbound 64 from Maryville Center into 270, and then from Lindbergh in through the Inner Belt. Westbound 64. Hampton headed out through Hanley's heavy. South 170 bogs down at Brentwood. North 270 from Gravois all the way up to Ladue is busy. Eastbound 44 slow around the bend, Southwest Avenue through Hampton. They're looking at a westbound crash on 44 at Hampton with injuries. Only the left lane. Westbound 44 is open traffic. Westbound 44 jammed at Vandeventer. Northbound 55 Bayless up through Holly Hills is heavy. Westbound 64 still delays west of 50 through 159 and a couple of slow spots from the 70 split to the Poplar. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like we're going to have clouds and sun mixed today, a high 61 degrees, partly cloudy tonight with a low of 45, and then partly sunny tomorrow, breezy, much warmer. We're expecting a high near 81 degrees. Right now we have sunshine, 38 degrees in downtown St. Louis. It's now up to a jury to decide whether Meta misled users about its platform's risks to children.
After 6 weeks of testimony, jurors in Santa Fe, New Mexico will be asked to rule in a landmark social media trial. In closing arguments, prosecutor Linda Singer, representing New Mexico, says Meta, the owner of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, prioritized profits over safety and violated consumer protection laws.
Meta has failed over and over again to act honestly and transparently. It's failed to act to protect young people.
Meta defense attorney Kevin Huff disputes the claims and says the company tries to weed out harmful content.
Meta told the truth and works hard to protect teens.
Meta executives said the company is continuously improving safety. The state argues that Meta's assurances don't square with their studies and internal communications at the company. Singer urged the jury to impose the maximum civil penalty, $5,000 for 2 counts for each teen user in the state would add up to over $2 billion. Audio courtesy KOAT. I'm Jennifer King.
Coming up on Total Information AM, how do you know if an older loved one isn't getting the nutrition they need? Well, I'll get some advice from Michelle Wilson of Brands Nutrition. And then this is a must listen if you're going to send kids off to summer camp. There are now super lice in this world that could infest your child's hair. We're going to tell you more about it just before 9 o'clock.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Swings, and it's a high fly ball. That's hit deep. It's a gunner! It's a gunner! And a game winner!
Start the season in style on Saturday, March 28th. The Cardinals welcome the Tampa Bay Rays for a spring showdown downtown. That day, you can score a lightweight Cardinals pullover, a navy blue look built for early season nights, and easy everyday wear. Comfortable, classic, and ready for cool evenings at the ballpark. It's a layer you'll reach for all season long. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
It's time for your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon Gatner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
A possible de-escalation in the Middle East conflict rippled through the markets yesterday. Stocks jumped with the Dow rising 631 points to finish out the session. This morning, Wall Street is looking at small losses for stocks, with traders becoming more cautious about the developments. U.S. oil is higher at $90 a barrel on concerns the war may escalate. Meantime, pink slips are being handed out at Spotify. The company's laying off approximately 3% of its podcasting team. The company is reorganizing to create fewer layers of management and faster decision-making. Spotify has been in the podcast space since 2019. And Nintendo is cutting back production of the Switch 2. Demand for the $450 gaming console trailed the company's expectations during the year-end holiday season, especially in the U.S. Sources tell us Nintendo plans to make 4 million devices this quarter. That's less than a third it had originally planned to produce. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
I wanted a new color printer to add pizzazz to my prints.
Ooh, pizzazz can be pricey.
Well, now at Staples, you get up to 30% off select HP printers.
30% off at HP?
Yeah, I saved $120 on an HP Smart Tank 6001 with up to 3 years of ink included.
Why, that could be the last printer you'll ever need.
Could be.
Shop your local Staples today for big savings on HP.
That was easy.
Available in-store, online, or on the app. It's 404 exclusions apply.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, I think this is going to be a strange season for real estate. Just kind of feel it in my gut. What can people do apropos of their mortgage to put themselves in a better position to get that house?
You know what, Dave, that's a great question. There's a bidding wars are going to happen this spring. You want to get the house. This is how you're going to make things better. Number one, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. That means you can go into our portal and generate the letter and edit it for any amount you want up to the amount you're approved without chasing the loan officer. Number two, the bagel loan, no closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. It's a bagel. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Add that money you would normally pay onto your bid and beat the other offers out. And you know what? The third thing is we can close fast. 10 days. They're going to look away at the other offers because most lenders take as much as 30 days to get done.
You can call or text Stewie at his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan in MLS 226715.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex. It's Burn Balance Edge for men, Burn Balance Zen for women, available at supplement superstores. This is the top of the line, a complete metabolism system, an all natural weight loss option, by the way, for people who don't want to get into prescriptions. If you don't like needles, this is for you. And it gets your metabolism working at peak levels, helps you with appetite control and cravings, all day focused energy. So get out to supplement superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you, and they will knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. To find your location, and go to supplementsuperstores.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Senators discussing a proposal to end the Homeland Security budget stalemate, but ICE would not be funded. A major global study of the world's freshwater migratory fish has found more than 300 species in decline or at risk of collapse. And a review by the University of North Carolina finds that increasing fluid intake and cutting back on salt and protein makes a big difference in reducing the risk of kidney stones. Well, last time we heard from Roger Brand, we had a problem pop up on westbound 270. Let's get the latest from him now from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it looks like they finally cleared all those, thankfully, Megan. This traffic reports the service of the Woodlands of Arnold Senior Living, so we're back on the go there, but they're still working with this crash in the city, westbound 44 at Hampton. Only the left lane is open. Emergency crews on the scene. It's a solid jam back through Vandeventer. Gawkers coming around the bend from Southwest Avenue. It's also a little slow, 44 eastbound at Laclede Station as well. North 270 from 44 all the way to Ladou's heavy. Eastbound 64 still slow. Lindbergh to Big Bend. Westbound 64 a lot better. Just Clayton Skinker through Big Bend busy. Both directions of 170 between the Parkway and 64 are off the pace. Northbound 55 Bayless up the river to Pears busy. Eastbound 44 through the arch grinds out onto 70 past Madison's heavy, and westbound 64 still slow. Both sides of 159 and from the 70 split to the Poplar. I'm Roger Brand, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
I'm Megan Lynch, and you're listening to Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. Do you ever wonder if an older loved one is getting proper nutrition? I recently sat down with Michelle Wilson, registered dietitian with Brandt's Nutrition, to talk about any signs we can look for that someone needs to eat better.
As loved ones age and we see them maybe eating alone, maybe they don't have someone to share meals or cook for, that their nutrition may suffer, or they may not have an appetite anymore because they're not as active.
Yeah, so there's several things to watch out for with nutrition with older adults. One thing is that hydration can be really, really challenging because our thirst receptors go down as we age. So we don't feel thirsty as often. So we need to drink more water regularly. So you might notice like dried spit at the corners of their mouths or things like that, or like their skin seems drier or things like that. So just making sure that they're getting adequate hydration, very, very important. If you notice that they're eating less than normal, maybe that you've typically seen them eat, then they're definitely going to have that risk for not getting in enough nutrients. If you're noticing any sort of weight loss or body changes, we definitely don't want any unintentional weight loss. I've worked in a geriatric center before, and I was in an assisted living facility, and I was working with a geriatric dietitian because they're specialists of the specialists. And she said that so much of the population thinks that it's a good thing to lose weight, that whenever her older adults have unintentional weight loss, they think it's a positive thing. They might not even complain about it. They might try to do even more of it by eating even less because they don't have an appetite. And we're really at risk for a lot of micronutrient deficiencies, but also just muscle wasting and your bones becoming more brittle whenever you're not getting adequate nutrition. So if you're having they fall down and they break a hip or something, that's a pretty thick bone. So it would only break if they had nutrition deficiencies that reduce down the density of their bones.
How do we encourage, better eating habits or help support them with at least, some nutritious options for them?
Absolutely. So we want to maintain their protein so they don't have that muscle wasting, especially if they're not getting enough nutrition. So definitely prioritizing protein, prioritizing those nutrients for bone health like calcium and vitamin D, having maybe we might need even denser options. If they're not feeling hungry, we might need denser foods. So things that are made with like creams and butters, full fat versions of stuff can be helpful for them getting more nutrition. And then like I was saying with the hydration piece as well. And then eating regularly throughout the day. So having multiple opportunities for eating. So not just meals, but meals and snacks. And then increasing community eating. So having family dinners or where they go to a community center to eat, or if they're in an assisted living facility, encouraging them to go to the dining room instead of eating in their room. Social aspects can definitely be very encouraging for eating. And then another added caveat that's not necessarily directly nutrition, but strength training can be so important for maintaining that musculature that you might reduce down on if they're not getting adequate nutrition. So we want to preserve the muscle as much as possible.
What about things like nutrition shakes? How much should you rely on those?
I would say foods first, supplements second. and fed is best. So we definitely want to prioritize food as much as possible to get those meals and snacks in. And whatever they can't finish of what they need, you can definitely supplement with a drink. So having Ensure or Boost, they have like those kind of more milk-based versions. Then they have Ensure Clear and Boost Breeze, which is like the more fruit juice kind of versions. If there's like an extreme aversion to more of that like dairy-based. But even those dairy-based ones are lactose-free, so they should be fine for even with people with lactose intolerance. They're made to for that population and for other people that aren't getting enough nutrients. So if you're having GI distress, which gastrointestinal distress, then it should be easier for your stomach to tolerate. So definitely prioritizing the meal and then finishing it off with the drink.
Is this a case where things like canned soups or microwave meals, as long as you kind of check what's in them, might be a really great option for someone, especially if they're living alone?
Absolutely. So anything that reduces down the amount of energy for food preparation can be very helpful. So it depends on the barriers for their eating. So if it's the cost of the food, if it's the amount of effort, if it's even accessibility in their kitchen, you might think, oh, well, they can just make this. It's like, well, they actually pull their microwave in and out because they're used to putting up their, other kitchen appliances, or they pull their toaster in and out of a shelf. Maybe it's not as accessible as it used to be. So you didn't even think about, oh, that's actually on the lower shelf and they haven't been able to reach the lower shelf in years. And so you might have to rearrange a kitchen, but being able to observe someone's like habits throughout their meals can be very helpful in telling of like why they're having these barriers. And that can be difficult if someone lives alone, but just checking in every once in a while to see like what their normal routine looks like can help lend a lot of knowledge of what's really going on. They might not even use a gallon of milk anymore because it's too heavy and they just never really think to buy a smaller version of it.
What about some shelf-stable foods that would provide some energy, protein, and nutrients?
Yeah, so definitely those soups can be helpful. Those we have like pastas and rices. We have some of those like pre-made, pre-seasoned versions of things. So like pasta and rice sides can be nice because it's already seasoned. Having more of those like maybe like the canned like Chef Boyardee, those types of options too. There's even like pre-made soup, the stews, like the things that have like a little bit more density to them. We also have like mashed potatoes, like which like I just add water and microwave, and then there's like microwavable mac and cheese. So things like that can all be great, but it also depends on someone's ability, like their mobility, their ability to do things. So like maybe it's super easy to do a microwavable thing, but maybe you're not thinking about how like when they add water to it and they put it in the microwave, that might be a little bit more challenging. So it kind of depends on what their mobility looks like and on what products can feel more accessible. Having pop-top versions of the pre-canned things can be much more accessible than the ones where you have to use a can opener, for instance. But even knowing that sometimes there's adaptive devices to opening cans, so knowing limitations there too.
Should you look at the number of meals for a loved one? Does that matter, or is it the timing of the meals?
So typically we want to eat within an hour of waking up and at least every 3 to 4 hours. So that looks different for different people. Some people would prefer to have 4 bigger meals and they're not much into snacking, and other people are much more into snacking. So it might be 3 meals and 3 snacks, but it really depends on what works best for them. But I would say if they're not getting enough nutrition, every couple of hours, we need to kind of be checking in to see if they can have something else.
Any other tips?
Always just check in with a dietitian. There's definitely a lot of ways to help people out. But having that individualized care, so reaching out to a dietitian that specializes in geriatrics can be super helpful for the older adult population. Sometimes people are in facilities that has a dietitian on staff. So if they are in an assisted living facility, seeing if there is a dietitian that you could talk to see what you can do to help support your loved one. But yeah, that like community aspect of things, like the more social we can make things, the more enjoyable they can be.
That's Michelle Wilson with Brands Nutrition. Coming up, we've got a warning for you about super lice.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here, back in St. Louis and back talking about my friend Jim Brennan and the president of McKelvey Homes. Always a pleasure to discuss what he is doing. He is the best when it comes to building homes and finding home sites in the St. Louis area. 128 years for McKelvey Homes. They go back to 1898. And celebrating this month their 128th birthday in honor of their founding year, 1898, they are offering $18,980 off or more on home prices, and get up to $15,000 free cash to close on to-be-built homes. Special financing rates as low as 4.99% on select move-in ready homes. That's McKelvey Homes. All of this information is online right now at McKelveyHomes.com. McKelvey Homes, Missouri's oldest home builder, the 1898 sale. Visit them online at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Join us for the Rally with Us MLB Opening Day events on March 25th, 9 to 1 p.m. at the Rally House Brentwood Point location. There'll be a live broadcast, giveaways, and the first 100 customers through the doors receive a Valley House Opening Day scratcher ticket. And don't forget to pick up your Opening Day gear while you stop in. Rally House is your home for outrageously authentic Cardinals gear, on-field hats, jerseys, and apparel straight from the source. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Let's say your kid gets sent home from school with head lice. You might not be able to treat it with traditional over-the-counter treatments. In recent months, more reports have surfaced of so-called super lice. Let's find out more. Dr. Charlotte Albinson is BJC Medical Group Medical Director for Convenient Care and Virtual Care. Dr. Albinson, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Megan.
Is there really such a thing as super lice?
Yes and no. So super lice are basically lice that behave like your typical lice, except that they don't respond to most of the over-the-counter treatments.
Is this the majority of head lice at this point?
There are some that you can still treat with the over-the-counter medications, but there are quite a few variants of lice that really are going to require you to go to the doctor and get maybe something prescription.
What's happened over the years that some of these traditional over-the-counter remedies are not working?
So they've been used sometimes inappropriately. For instance, for when the lice are actually they're dead and they're not creating a live infection on someone. And what happens is when people are treated inappropriately, then the lice can they can form genetic mutations that make them resistant to those over-the-counter formulations.
Talk to us just about how fast lice can spread, because I understand that in their short life cycle, they lay a lot of eggs.
They do. They lay just a ton of eggs. They can spread quite quickly. They crawl very fast. They don't jump, but they crawl. So they can get spread by head-to-head contact or sharing things like head scarves, hats, that type of thing. So they can spread quite quickly in schools.
Now, when it comes to maybe getting stronger treatments for them, I have to wonder, could we just make the situation worse the more stuff we throw at them?
It's always possible, but we have to treat them somehow. We can't have kids going to school with lice infestation, so we have to sort of do what we can to treat them.
As a parent, how do you know, okay, how long do you wait to say this is not working? I need some more help with this?
Yeah, what's recommended is if you've used the over-the-counter remedies for 2 rounds and really followed the directions closely, and your child is still having symptoms of a lice infestation, then it's recommended to seek medical care.
What about for homes? Is there a point where you would recommend to someone, their home needs to be treated, not just an individual?
Yes. If somebody at your home has a lice infestation, what's really recommended is to wash all of their towels, bed linens, that type of thing in hot water and dry in a hot dryer for at least 30 minutes. And then also things at home like pillows, stuffed animals, things that can't really be washed or dry cleaned, those need to be sealed in a plastic bag for 2 weeks. And then you can sort of consider your area lice-free.
Are there any ages or any of individuals that should not be exposed, for example, to some of those more powerful treatments?
Yeah, it depends on the treatment, but some of them you can use in kids over 2 months of age, some in kids over 6 years old. It depends on the treatment.
Is there any time of year when you feel like you see this more?
Yeah, we see it when kids start coming back to school after they've been at camp. It seems to spread really quickly at youth camps as well.
So something we should be watchful for, I'm assuming, this spring and summer as we get out of school.
Absolutely.
Any other advice you would give parents on this?
Just watch for things like, lots of itching, difficulty sleeping. Those are signs that your child might have lice. And as a reminder, lice don't carry any diseases, so they're not considered a public health concern, but they just can be really irritating for children.
On average, how long does it take to treat lice?
It usually takes a week to 2 weeks. It really depends on the situation.
All right. Dr. Albinson, thank you so much. Really appreciate your advice.
Thank you so much.
Again, that is Dr. Charlotte Albinson with BJC Medical Group.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Ultra-processed foods damage health in ways